there yet. As soon as I
Yeah, I don't know. It's on Game Pass, and I don't know. Every time it's on Game Pass, I'm like, I can play it.
I am. I gave myself away very cheap. They're gonna be able to hear you guys in a second.
I
Okay.
didn't realize there's a Zool play screen.
Yeah, you know what? Sometimes there's a Zool gameplay thing, and sometimes I want to play Zool for the podcast. So yeah, I'm fixing it.
I don't forgive you.
I don't know. What was I gonna do?
We out here. Wait,
We are out here. Modern experience. Wait, is this from Europe? Is this a Euro platformer? Is that what this is?
Hell yeah.
Oh, slide.
Why did I think? Oh no. Why did I think that Zool was a 3D platformer?
So you said that, and I agreed with you, I think. And then the next week this came out, and I'm like, was there ever a 3D Zool? No.
Okay, I guess I'm just a wrong idiot.
But I mean, what were you thinking of?
I don't know. I think I just thought, you know, I guess it was just, I just always could see the magazine like ad in my head.
Sure.
For some reason I associated, I think it's because of the ugly colors, I associated it with the
It is ugly, isn't it? Look at this thing. Like, I like it, but it's ugly.
Right.
Somebody didn't even like.
So everybody watching live, we're starting the podcast here in a second. I'm just playing this game. Candy bars that look, they look awful. It's the least appetizing candy bars ever.
Was this like a PC platformer, like that rat guy? I can't remember the name. Jackrabbit.
Jackrabbit. Yeah, Jackrabbit.
Like Commander King. And I apparently knew nothing about Zool.
I got many understanding what he said.
He's just in here to remind me to send him the microphone like I said I was going to. He's just trying to guilt me by talking to us with that microphone. Come here.
I don't know if I should
It feels good. That's my thing.
Yes,
That's me. You time that because that's fucking peak comedy, bro.
I'm getting a Game Zero while Jeff finishes playing Zool.
I'm a... Oh, like an Arizona iced tea?
You need something hot.
Okay, yeah, sure, yeah.
Because,
Sure, yeah.
it works.
Yeah, does it?
Yeah.
Okay. As you insist.
Despite what the internet says.
Okay. I don't even, like, some of that, like, the game world just doing things that I wouldn't expect. Like, that one bounced me up. I didn't know I was going to bounce on that thing. Nothing indicated I would bounce on it.
Can you turn off the CRT filter?
Yes.
Online?
Okay. It's better with the filter, though. There's too many pixels.
Oh, is it? Oh, no. Oh, you were right.
Oh, whoa, okay. Parallax. This game, they just did not care about, like, upsetting the player's eyeballs back then.
Yeah,
I'm being, like, harsh on this game, but I'm like, I don't know, it's fine.
I remember only, like, getting sick playing Metal Slug.
Yeah.
It was a visual, like, down in the elevator. The game audio down.
Yeah, I'm turning it off.
See, we're gonna turn it all the way down.
Okay, so where am I? Hello, let's see here. Here's silly faces. What did I need to do? I need to change this audio to music.
Oh, Mike, you had to turn on your camera.
Yeah, it'll be fine. I'll go back to starting.
You know your tank talks make me uncomfortable.
Yep. Yes, I do.
You were like human soup yesterday.
Yes, I know. It was awful. But whatever.
I'm
What can
like,
I?
oh shit, it's hot over there, huh?
What can I do about it, man? That's just the life I live.
You never. I don't think you sent me a rundown.
It's always the same. You can search podcast rundown in your browser.
Wow.
Probably it'll come up.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'll get it.
whoa.
I'll get it. Hang on. I'll get it.
No. I'll get it myself. I'll get it myself. Apparently, that's fine. Whatever. Okay, there it is. Podcast rundown. I can do it. I guess. Wow.
Did everybody tweet it?
No, we'll tweet it. I feel like I'll tweet in a second here. What did I
start?
Psychonauts 2.
Psychonauts.
Yeah. It's a fun thing to spell. Try writing a hands-on preview and a review of it and an interview. I've been writing about Psychonauts 2 a lot, and I'm tired.
You gotta spell out that name every time. Yep.
It's hard.
Oh man, guess what? The Iraq War just came to Steam.
What?
The Iraq War just came to Steam. Hang on, let's take a look here.
What is that?
Hang on, turn on your camera. Turn on your camera.
One second. That's share
to see
screen.
it.
That's the share screen button. It's the Rock War.
I'm looking on Steam and I don't see the Iraq.
I'll get it. Don't worry.
Oh.
You could save 10% on the Iraq War right now, just so you know.
The Iraq War, like from, like the war.
The war
in the Middle East.
In the Middle East. Look, it's on on the YouTube thing right now.
You can't be throwing this. Yeah, you can't be throwing this
What?
out at me. Oh my god.
Oh no.
Stealth.
That's-
Multiplayer. Please just put the words "badass" on the screen. that GIF of that puppet puking is pretty apt right now. This is the same week that gave us Martin Luther King and Fortnite. So what? I mean, hey.
Oh my god! I
Sure.
saw that. Oh wow.
Sure. You can
I
save
love how everybody
10%.
was like, "Oh yeah, that's actually nice because kids are gonna learn about."
I mean, it may be. I could I have no idea what to think. I could buy
Sure.
the argument, but I'm also like, oh, it's weird. I don't know. I have no idea what to
It's
think.
weird seeing like Rick from Rick and Morty like going around.
Yes.
Mike, could you hear the music? Maybe
Yeah,
not.
I hear the music.
You hear the music.
I hear the
Okay.
music. What am I doing? I have stream elements open. I have to tweet.
Yeah, I got a tweet too. Let me turn this.
Turn that off. Stop
Oh,
showing
and
your DMs.
Yes.
Oh, was there anything juicy there that he accidentally shared with everybody?
Yeah, you should share like the release date of
Yeah.
Halo.
What could it be? Yeah, Halo. I finally leaked
At
it.
this point. What's this? Oh,
It should be called Halo. No Halo.
I don't agree with that.
Halo.
Sounds way more sci-fi.
I disagree. I think
Halo.
Halo's a good name. Jeff, I'm slightly higher than you now. It's upsetting me. And if you tell me
Ooh, it's
to move my
upsetting me.
camera,
No.
I'm going to fly over to Colorado and slap you.
Slap you in the midst.
Well, now I'm spooked, so I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah.
All right. Yep. I got plans tonight. I'm going to set up an inflatable projector screen, and we're going to watch a movie out in the backyard. What movie should I
What are you
watch
gonna
with the
watch?
kids? I don't know.
Luca.
They're literally watching Luca right this second.
Well, then shit. I don't know. I hear everybody likes that Netflix one. What's it called? The people on the road trip and they fight aliens or something. Or
Oh yeah,
robots.
that is good. The
Oh.
Mitchell versus the Machines. Yeah,
I haven't seen that
Yeah.
yet, but people like
That's
that.
good.
Watch
Very
Lilo and
good.
Stitch is always my go-to if they haven't seen that yet.
I saw Blade on that Marvel game trailer, so I'm gonna watch all the Blades tonight.
I've never seen a Blade movie. I don't really have much
Yeah.
interest.
They are.
I could make my kids watch Blade. There's
Chef,
Blade
I
Age.
think I watched Commando.
I don't think you should show your
The,
kids
the,
Blade.
the blood shower. They would love that.
Just showed the one scene where they had to CGI Wesley Snipes' eyes opening because he refused to do it that day for some reason.
Yeah,
That's the
that
only
was-
thing I've ever seen, and that's all I need to see.
Oh,
Okay, how close
that
are we to
Blade
14 now?
Trinity is it's just a pearl lost in the sea that nobody found. It's a treasure. Oh, Ryan Reynolds is. Ryan Reynolds always plays the same character, I feel like.
Yes, that's correct.
And I love him, but it's just too much, you know? It's like, okay, Ryan Reynolds, just chill.
Yeah, just
Hey,
turn it down a notch. Got a
Nah,
big.
I'm all for it. You get your niche and you stick with it. I applaud
Right.
it.
I'm convinced.
You
You
go
convinced me in
hard.
one.
Okay, have a good podcast. Yo.
Imran Khan says,
Right.
a fun note, a 10% savings on the Iraq War would be a savings of $75 billion. Well then. Hey,
Wow.
big super chat from Ron. We should get in here, start doing the show so we can get to that, and all the other super chats have already come in.
Sure, man. It seems like we're ready to go, and that seems way too smooth to me. Is everything okay? We're all.
I
man.
know. I'm sure forgetting. Do you have stream elements open?
I have it open. Oh, I'm good.
Oh, so we're just talking about me because it's usually my fault. Oh, okay. I think we're good. Let me check the audio levels. They look good. We're the same height, right? And then
I'm going to close this notepad that I have with all of my math that I do for the Final Fantasy 14 auction house. I'll get rid of that.
oh no,
I'm trying to become a gillionaire.
a Jillian, because it's Gil.
Yeah, I guess I'm more a gillionaire. Huh?
Gillian, yeah. Wow, you could have got that one, but not quite.
Well, you know, because shut up, Jeff. Jerk.
All right.
My
Let me
psychiatrist
see.
says that you have to bring me down because it helps lift you up.
I am ready to just permanently put Mike down for this entire podcast by starting up the show. You could hear the music. They heard them. Yeah, I'm like, feel like we're forgetting something, but we can just get started, Mike. I have the rundown there. I have this here. Where's chat? Put that there. Okay. All right. I'm good, Mike. Should we go?
Yes.
All right. 5, 4, 3. It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this. Welcome to the GamesBeat Decides podcast. This is the podcast where we decide everything that is happening in the world of games so you don't have to think for yourself. I'm your host, Jeff Grubb. With me is
Mike Minotti.
in this episode, we have games, we have news, we have Gamescom news. We're going to get to all that very soon. First, though, I want to talk to my friend Mike. How you doing, Mike?
I'm good. I've been busy. I've been kind of off this week, but I had to like help with some of the big things like Gamescoms and whatnot. If something happened yesterday, I don't know about it. I even missed Grow Snacks, and I felt bad about that. I thought I was gonna watch it last night, but then I just fell asleep.
It's okay. I know you are busy. You have things in your life that you got to get done, and I respect that. If you do that, I will be jealous because I've never been able to accomplish a project like that in my life. So I'm rooting for you, basically.
It's a secret project.
Yes, that's why I'm being vague, but project I think is a fair enough word, and I'm
Non-gaming related projects, so don't get too excited.
Right? Yeah, he's not making the next Halo.
All
He's
right,
not...
I'm building the Enterprise in my backyard.
Yeah, can't wait to see it, everybody. All right, we're gonna talk about the Gamescom news here real soon. There's a ton of stuff to go over this week. First, though, thank you for joining us. You can get more from Mike and me at GamesBeat.com. If you have something to share with us, email us at podcast or at GamesPlusPodcast@VentureBeat.com, or get us on Twitter at GamesBeat. Thank you to Carlos Ayin, who is Insane in the Rain Music on YouTube, for the use of our theme songs. If you are listening to this on the website player widget, you can subscribe to the show on the audio version on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and more. If you're watching on YouTube, you can get the show there, or you can also give us a like to help people find the show on YouTube. It really helps the podcast grow. And then the Discord. Join the Discord, discord.gg/GameMess. Come hang out with us. We talk about games. We talk about everything there. There's all kinds of channels. People are always spouting off everything there all the time. And thank you to the mods for both helping with the Discord and helping keep the chat here pretty clean and fun and having a good time. And then finally, I have a Patreon for patreon.com/JeffGrubb. Go there, sign up for it. It gets you into the secret channels inside the Discord, the podcast producers channel where we take a lot of input from people. Mike's always in there soliciting stuff for the shows, and then also you can get into industry secrets. All Okay, Mike, we got news. Should we get into it? All right. So the first thing I do have here is Gamescom opening night live. I guess Gamescom in general, but most of the news did come from opening night live, Jeff Keighley's big thing.
Whoa, what about all that hot Xbox news from their event?
I already forgot that was a thing. Like, I've completely forgot that event even happened at this point. And it was a weird thing that they even did that they even like tried to like do a show before their big news, because the only thing people remember from that show now is, where is Halo? And then the next day they got Halo, so now they don't remember anything from it.
Trebuchets.
And then trebuchets. Right,
I liked the trebuchet segment because I watch a lot of those popular sites, YouTube channels. So I was like, all right, that's fine. Yeah, this is good. Teach me about trebuchets. It's better than like another 10-minute commercial for a game that's coming out in a week, I guess. I don't know.
I did appreciate learning, I suppose. But the next day we got opening night live, and we got stuff like Halo Infinite is coming December 8th. How do you feel about it?
That's my birthday, Jeff.
I knew that was going to be how you felt about it.
That's it. Oh yeah, I am literally just the Leonardo DiCaprio meme about it. I have no thoughts beyond that. My stupid monkey brain is just like, date recognize. Date me.
Well, happy early birthday, Mike. I'm happy for you. This is, it's a little bit later than maybe some people were thinking, but I don't think it's that much. This is still.
I mean, the fact that they weren't saying it, I think you should have been like, yeah, it's not going to be September.
I know, so many people still thought September, and it was like never going to be September.
The technically fall category,
right? And it's like I think they always said holiday too. They've been saying holiday for a very long time, so that's definitely still the holiday period. So I'm not even really that surprised at all. I guess there's not much else to say about it. They still haven't shown much of the campaign, but they warned us they weren't going to do that.
CG trailer now, which we know that's a bit of a taboo. Halo always has at least one of those though. So sure, here's the CG trailer. It didn't make me feel much. It's a CG trailer. Whatever. But they made one. I wonder if we are going to get to a point where it's like even Halo doesn't need to have the CG trailer anymore, but I don't know. Yeah,
maybe. I think we probably will eventually, because it's just like when it becomes so passe, you sort of don't want your biggest franchise associated with that even more, even if it's the thing that made CG trailers such a big deal in the first place, or at least one of the games that did that.
And games like Ratchet Clank, and it's benefited because it's a bit more cartoony, but it is at a point where it would actually just not be cost effective to make a CG trailer where you can just use the game assets at this point, and
exactly,
it'll pretty much look as good.
So they warned us that we weren't going to get much campaign footage when they announced that they were delaying the stuff, which we talked about last week, where they're delaying campaign co-op and they're delaying Forge. That means we're going to get a little bit closer to release before we see campaign. I'm at a point where I just need to know what this game even is now. I just need to is it going to play more like a Far Cry game on a big Halo ring? Is that what I have no idea. I have zero idea.
My expectation is that it's going to be like Halo, but it's going to be like, go to this Halo relay point and open up more of the map and go conquer this Covenant base here. That's what I'm expecting. So if it's not that, I kind of want to know.
The absence of details and information, and honestly, a lot of people aren't. At least in my wheelhouse or my circles, I'm not seeing a lot of people asking questions about it. I think most people are just assuming it's going to be another Halo campaign like past Halo campaigns. And in my head, I'm like, I don't think that's what I'm expecting anymore. I'm almost expecting they're gonna go almost a Breath of the Wild route with it and do something.
There was always some kind of an open world promise here. I mean, it's in the name Infinite. That very first trailer was very clear about that. So I'm like, well, okay, well, what does that mean? What does that look like? And that gameplay trailer, the disastrous one they showed, kind of answered that a little bit, but that could have also just been a really large Halo map where you had a grappling hook. That didn't necessarily show us what the game is about or what makes it that much different than past games. So yeah, I agree with you. I am curious. I am also fine just not knowing until it comes out. Whatever.
Yeah, sure. I just in my head, I've begun imagining stuff like, what if this is Halo meets Breath of the Wild? Is there a possibility for that? And I mean, I doubt it. I don't know.
My expectations are not there. That's for sure.
No, yeah, I don't think that would. It's probably not going to come together if that is their ambition. But is that their ambition? Are they trying to make this just feel like we're gonna send Master Chief into this environment, and the end point to win this game is over here, and here's a bunch of stuff in between. However you get there is up to you. I'm imagining this stuff. Far Cry is probably much more likely.
Going to be the much better comparison.
You're almost certainly right. But yes, we do know this game is coming in pretty hot. You know, they had a year-long delay, but still, they needed all this time to get to this point, to get to the December 8 release date.
I am always going to be so curious. What would that game have looked like if it had come out in November 2020? It is now coming out 13 months later. Some of the stuff is not making it for long.
Yep.
You know, my assumption was like, oh, I guess they're just coming in and like sprucing up the graphics a bit. That can't be all that they did. They had to
Clearly
be some biggish changes. Somebody had to look at this and be like, no, this is what is going on here. Like, I forget who they brought in, but he had to revamp some stuff.
Yeah, Joseph Staten. Yeah.
Yeah.
So December 8th does mean that this game will be coming in too late for stuff like the Game Awards, and so late that we might not even be considering it, like, because it'll be hard to consider because there'll be so much other stuff happening that if only like one of us gets through it at that time, like we'll have a hard time considering it in our awards, even if we do it in late December or early January, whenever we end up doing our stuff. And I think it's going to be true for a lot of sites. So like, this game's just not going to be in that conversation no matter what. And do you think that hurts it at all?
I think no. So there's super franchises like this where getting the award bait doesn't matter that much. And if it is to the point where, oh wow, a Halo or Zelda is so good that's winning Game of the Year awards like Breath of the Wild did, then it's so good that it kind of becomes evident and everyone's going to play it anyways. Like if it's suddenly like the Breath of the Wild for the Halo series, we will all know, we'll all play it, we'll find out, and we'll come to that consensus.
I think
otherwise, you're right. I can't imagine it beating out, you know, like what are the top contenders right now? Maybe Ratchet and Clank. I think the two best reviewed games of the year are Ratchet and Clank and Psychonauts
too.
Yeah, 3D platformers. So that's crazy. That makes me happy.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, but we'll see. Again, if everyone's freaking out about it, we'll find it. The Game Awards thing is weird. I wish that they would just like move everything back a month so we can just get December in there instead of this weird situation where we're like considering the Star Wars game was the big one.
Yeah.
Last time,
no,
right?
Cyberpunk's the big one, Mike. Cyberpunk from last December.
God.
So for this Game Awards.
Oh my God. Holy shit.
If that game gets nominated, I'm gonna actually lose my mind a little bit. I think not like I won't be mad. I will just feel so.
Well, if it gets nominated for like best RPG, even that seems like too much.
That seems like too much. But I will just feel so disconnected from reality at that point. But whatever, we'll see what happens. They still have a chance to release like a big patch between now and then, I guess. But whatever. We don't need to talk about Cyberpunk. Yeah, I agree with your point. I think that the fact that the multiplayer is going to be free and that the campaign is going to be on Game Pass means people are just going to try this game for themselves, and missing out on the Game Awards is whatever. They'll be fine. Mm-hmm. Okay, other opening night live news. They confirmed that Marvel's Midnight Suns game that's coming in March. Excuse me. They're going to show gameplay in September. It is the game that I previously thought was a XCOM meets Marvel sort of game, and it sounds like it is that team, which is one of the reasons why I thought that. And the other stuff I heard was you'd be playing as customizable characters alongside of iconic Marvel heroes, and that's true to a point. But you're only playing as one customizable character, and it ends up sounding more like Fire Emblem than like XCOM. Not that there's a huge difference in the combat itself.
Yeah, they're obviously pretty similar.
Right, but it does sound like that's the angle, like, because they called it a tactical RPG more than they've ever referred to XCOM as that. And so, yeah, I think you're going to be playing as this customizable character, and you will be controlling like stuff like Ghost Rider and Wolverine in combat. But then you'll go back to your base and you'll run around your base as your character, talking to all these other people. And you play the hunter.
Fire Emblem,
Fire Emblem, and that to me that sounds even better. That sounds like a really cool way to do this.
That sounds like a pretty good fit. Although both those games have permadeath, and I assume that's just I don't know. They're going to figure some way around that. They might just not do it, I guess, for this one, and it'll be fine. I'm a big fan of like Wolverine in his magic runes costume. That's good. It's like I like how it's leaning towards the magic universe.
Same.
They brought in some of the like non-magic characters and just gave them a magic makeover. That's pretty neat.
Yeah. So it is like It is going the supernatural side of Marvel, like we talked about before. Vampires seem to be like the primary threat, or at least super magical vampires, or whatever. So you do get Blade in there. But yeah, Wolverine with magical runes. You get Ghost Rider, a few others, and it's
there's Iron Man with magic runes.
Yes,
right?
Iron Man, right? And it like all that stuff really works for me. But also, I think it separates itself pretty distinctly from the MCU in the way that the Avengers game did not. Where the Avengers is just trying to like be like, we're sort of like the movies, but we're not. And
I think
this
is a good point. I think it's a good point. They're doing something that's distinctly different. So I think that helps out a lot. It's not going to give people the weird, like, people in costumes in Disney World pretending to be the Avengers feel.
Yes. And this is a Midnight Sun or Midnight Suns, but like spelled differently, SON instead of SUN, was a comic book event that deal with a lot of these same ideas. So this is definitely an adaptation of that, and that has a lot of fans. So yeah, I can't wait to see this, and we'll be playing it in March. And that's going to be a theme of this thing is a lot of stuff is coming out in that first quarter of next year.
February,
a lot
March,
of stuff, February and March. Yes. So I guess we can get to that next with Horizon Forbidden West is officially delayed. And the way that they...
I knew somebody told me about this like a month or two ago. Along with that Marvel thing. I don't know who could be, but I feel like
I wouldn't trust that person.
Told me that he's a clown or something. So
yeah, I wouldn't trust that clown. No way.
Right.
It is not coming.
Somebody said on Twitter that he's like, I tweeted something about it's like your show is just you guys say that you're right all the time. I was like, one, I don't feel like it is, and two,
we are right all the time.
Yeah, Kermit sipping the meme, Mikey sipping the Coke
I mean, come watch the We're Right show, everybody. Horizon Forbidden West is coming February 18th. So again, busy February. That's not too much of a delay. That seems like, that's 6 months from now, not even like 5 months from now. So that's not a long wait. We'll get on the other side of the holidays, get a little break, and then the next big game seems like it's going to be Horizon Forbidden West there. So yeah, it was weird because it was definitely, they just kind of threw Keeley a bone, but it was also like, hey, we could do this, announce this game's coming in next year, and then when we do our state of play, we could just talk about the good news.
It is fine. Well, they still try to position it. Like the guy was like, "We have exciting news." I'm like, "Do you?"
Yep, it was pretty fun. But they gave a date, and that is kind of still pretty exciting. So there was no new footage of the game or anything. It was just a man coming out and saying we're delaying the game, basically. But still, it worked.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because we're going to now have a direct data point here, right? Because Microsoft is going to have their very big holiday release with Halo, even if it's a little bit later. It's going to miss November, but still for December. Well, Sony, it still has, some games like Deathloop and whatnot, but it's not going to have that big first-party exclusive. And we'll see, like, okay, what does that do for sales now? Is Microsoft going to win noticeably? Is it going to win at all? Is that Sony momentum still going to go? It's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, it is. We'll be paying attention to it and talking about it on this show every week. Everybody keep tuning in for that.
They did announce that Horizon Zero Dawn, and they released like the 60 FPS update for that too, at least. So
that's true, right? Yes.
You can go back to play that game and not hate it now that you aren't worrying about Breath of the Wild.
I know, and it's like I actually forgot that it wasn't 60 frames per second because the way I've actually gone back and like tested that game was on PC recently, and it looks and runs great on there, so no issues. But I'm glad they put that on PlayStation as well. Saints Row is coming February 25th. Mike, what is Saints Row?
Yeah, I can probably talk about it. Saints Row is a reboot. It is the next Saints Row game, finally, after all these years. Like Saints Row 4 was 2012 or something like that. We had Agents of Mayhem, which nobody played. This game is taking place in a region inspired by the Southwest, so it's not an urban open world environment. It's more desert, kind of smaller towns and things like that. You're like in a group of disillusioned youths. There's like 4 of you. You play as their boss, and you're a customizable character and all that stuff. But it is much more like we're trying to going back to that Grand Theft Auto style again with the gang warfare districts like Saints Row 1 and 2, which to me that's a bit of a bummer. I think to you that's a bit of a bummer. I was almost surprised how non-controversial this was. It seemed like most people were actually fine with this. I thought there might have been a bit more of a backlash. Like in my mind, the only people who liked like all I ever heard of from Saints Row fan was how much you like 3 and 4. So I didn't know there's people still holding.
There are
the
a lot
torch
of
for 1 and 2.
those Saints Row 2 fans out there who are like, go back to gang warfare. I'm like, no. But listen, I'm not going to yuck anybody's yum. Those early Saints Row games weren't really for me. They definitely seemed kind of try hard and weird. And 3 and 4 were just like so tongue in cheek and so good at like embracing the humor. And the reason 4 really worked is because it was still silly, but then it really cared about its characters. And to me, like that's where you keep going with this. You like put those characters in increasingly weird situations, and I get that like. It's hard to top where they went with 4, but I think that you have to keep trying, and you have to be like to treat it like a creative challenge where you have to like try to go even stranger, make a Saints world, or travel back in time, have it take place during dinosaurs or whatever. You could do so many stuff.
Been Star Trek or something.
Right? Yeah, totally. Like and the Saints Row 4 was kind of like a take on a BioWare game, and they had like a pathway forward for that to like dive deeper on that stuff. It was I thought there was a lot of potential. I get it though. A lot of people don't believe that they have the chops anymore to follow that up successfully. But to me, that doesn't mean like that this new Saints Row looks like a good reboot. It just looks like okay, we got to try something different because we really don't know what we're going to do with that other stuff. And to me, that's not. I don't have more faith in that for any reason. So,
I mean, it looks good for what they're trying to do. It looks like it looks pretty. I'm into the kind of Southwest location.
That's true.
It's more driving. You do have wingsuits though. That's so there is slightly interesting traversal there. It's not going to be like 3 and 4 or 4 specifically, where you're just a superhero and all that stuff. I'll be interested in it. I don't think it's going to quite be my thing. Like I don't like the main Grand Theft Auto games that much. Even I played through all 5, and I was like, yeah, that I could see. Obviously, there's a lot of quality here, just not necessarily my thing. So. Yeah, it just happens to not necessarily light my world on fire, just for kind of some personal reasons and so on.
Yeah, I just I remember so many great anecdotes from playing Saints Row 3 and 4. When they sang Santeria or whatever, and everyone's singing in the car, and that stuff was great. And when Keith David's your vice president, and so then you end up meeting Roddy Piper, and they get into a big fight like They Live.
Oh my gosh, is that how old that game is? Roddy Piper was still alive? Jeez.
Yeah, Roddy Piper. That might have been. That might have been 3. I can't remember which one specifically. I guess it would have been 4 if you were the president. I can't remember exactly. But either way, it's really, there's a lot of really fun stuff that they did that like we're like, hey, we have to try to be non sequitur and weird and take things to the next level, and so we have to like bring in these things and actually try to like challenge ourselves. And this seems like, well, we're going to try to stick to this theme, and to that, to me, that's just inherently less exciting. But I'll give it a chance.
Those games were also pretty racy in a way that they probably wouldn't feel comfortable doing anymore. I wonder if that also made the decision easier to not try to top that stuff and go back to that, because it's pretty easy to mess that up right now. Again,
I think that's like treat that as a creative challenge, but that's the challenge. I think you're right that they probably want to take on, to try to like leave that stuff behind. But they dealt with a lot of those things in 4, where like Shantae was she was a side character who was maligned in the early games, and they have her like travel back to like meet her early version as her new version, who's a little bit more woke or whatever, and they have like a conversation about where the characters come and been, and I don't know, I was just really impressed by the writing and the stuff that you do in those games. So I was just a little disappointed, but I'm gonna give this new one a shot.
I was on a bit of a small Q&A call with the developers after they showed us the game, and they talked about how they feel like you kind of can't top. They kind of compared it to Moonraker for the James Bond series, Saints Row 4. It's like, well, what do you do with the Moonraker? You tend to kind of go back and dial things back a bit and sort of ground it all once again, which
Fast and Furious would never.
Yes. That's true.
I just don't think. I think that you got to be like fast. You got to be Fast and Furious if you are Saints Row these days, and just have faith that you can keep pushing it forward. And maybe you don't succeed, but I think you got to try.
They did specifically say there will not be a dildo bat, for example.
That of course not. Yes, and I don't blame them for that. But again, I just think you just leave that stuff behind, or you deal with it in a more mature way. And I get it. You don't want to take on those challenges. That's fine. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I saw some people be like, talk about the Metroid Dread trailer. I am not watching these Metroid Dread trailers.
Oh,
man.
Mike, it's so good.
I'm sure it is. Okay. I want to be like, no, I'm just going to play that game. But man, I don't know. Maybe, okay.
If you listen, I'll just say that I was sold on the game with the first trailer. But I looked at it and I was like, it looks okay. I looked at this trailer. It looks so good.
All right, you want me to do it? You want me to react? You want to bring the trailer up
Yes.
now?
Yeah.
Is that what you want to do?
Yeah, I do. Talk about Lego Star Wars Saga, and I'll bring it up. Hang on.
Yeah, we finally saw that game again. I know people have been asking about it constantly, so they'll be happy about that. They must have given a release date, right? I don't remember it. I don't know if you have that one.
They said spring, I think. Spring for that game. I'm not sure they gave a date exactly.
I mean, it certainly is looking like the most ambitious Lego game like that forever. Like big open, like all these planets you can go to. Like the part that stuck out was when they showed the sort of galactic map, and it's all those planets. You can go to them. And they're all kind of their own individual open worlds, it looks like. I think that is going to be a lot of fun. Even it's like someone me who's like not super hot about Star Wars right now. I was almost surprised how much Rise of Skywalker stuff was actually in that trailer too. I was like, I thought people don't like that one. Whatever. I'm into it though.
I'm setting up the sound. Do you hear that?
I hear it.
Okay. Let me check the volume
I love throwing things at Jeff. Like, I'm going to do a trailer reaction right
No,
now.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm glad you went there because I'm like, yeah, that would be fun. Let me make sure.
I'll be sure to overdo it. Yeah, I'll be sure to really ham it up. No.
All right. Mike's gonna keep talking for a second while I get the video set up now, and then we will we'll watch this live.
There was a trailer before this one even that I didn't watch. I was like, no.
Yeah, this one's called literally just trailer 2.
Okay. So this is like the big one. Well, the fact that you were excited about it, like, all right, because you were like the first trailer. I remember at first you were kind of like, this looks like an old crappy game. Well,
yes,
I was excited,
I was.
and I got very mad at you.
And,
I was like, Jeff,
watching this trailer, I was like, wow, Mike's justified in being mad at me. Like, this is so good. All right, we're gonna take over the whole screen with this game, and it'll be up in a second, everybody. All right.
Okay.
And Mike will ham it up like for the audio people, like he said. So just bear with us.
I won't ham it up, but I'll talk over it. You know,
okay.
If you want to see it without my grating, obnoxious voice, you can just go watch it. But yeah, we'll see what I think live here.
Let me bring it in. Let me hit the button, transition,
let's do it.
And then let's see.
I like Metroid. Oh, 2 minutes. All right. Hey, there's things on that building that looked like her shoulder pads. Ooh. Man, that white looks so good with the orange.
Yes, it looks really good.
Man, we don't see in-game Chozos very much.
No, I think they might have been in a game before, but like this is the first time it's returned, I think.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, what is that dash move? It looks so much fun.
It looks fantastic. I gotta turn this down for myself.
Oh, Kraid! Kraid's back!
Kraid's back, finally. Yeah,
looks awesome.
Every time they like zoom in to show like the models, it looks so good. The animations look really good. Yes, environments are great.
There's like that throne room. Oh my god, like this looks like a Chozo Palace. This is the one area. That's incredible.
Oh yeah, like that's that thing right there where she like loosened up the thing in the background and it fell out of the background into the level.
Holy crap, this missile lock on.
Yes.
This is good. Oh, Mikey likey.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, this game is going to be.
Boss fight. That had. Okay, I feel silly saying this. Okay, that lightning storm was sweet. I was getting some Hollow Knight vibes there with that Chozo fight.
I'm getting some Mega Man X vibes, so I don't know.
Oh,
look at her running up Kraid. Oh my god.
Okay, so we have those melee like counters are back. I liked those. I don't want them to be like too much. Oh no. Oh no. Was her Metroid Fusion thing getting awoken there? I don't know. Wow. Those levels look fantastic.
They look
That's my
so
big
good.
takeaway there.
Yes.
Like before, like we saw just like that kind of decrepit space station or whatever in the last one, and we've seen those before. It's whatever. That like Chozo Palace thing. That is a trailer, man. That's selling some copies.
Yeah, I think so.
Crap.
I think it was like it's gonna successfully sell some copies. All right, let me get this out of here. Where is it? No cap.
Jeff, that is. Woo! That has to be almost as hot as April O'Neil in the new TMNT game.
All right, studio mode. Let me transition. There we go. Okay. Yeah. Also, additionally, just so everybody knows, Mike is hot for April O'Neil. So.
Oh, absolutely. You didn't put it into the rundown. I had to throw it in there.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm glad you did. All right. Let's take a look here. So.
You want to just talk about that now?
Let's talk about it now. April O'Neil is playable in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game. I was like only half looking when this happened. Yeah, in Shredder's Revenge. So is that the case?
Yes.
And you're excited?
Yeah, she's like, oh, absolutely. Look, I'll just, come on. My age, April O'Neil was absolutely my first crush. Very specifically, the yellow jumpsuit April O'Neil. I know there's been like a zillion other versions now. No, but
what is this meme about Onal? O-N-A-L. Is that how Jeff Keighley said it or something?
No, that's how I typed it. I think at some point in chat I got excited and just said something like, "Fuck it, I love April O'Neil" because I spelled it wrong.
Well, I'm glad you love the Onal. She looks cool. It looks cool from what I've seen. She's not only playable here though. She's playable in that other game too. That Nickelodeon.
They also announced that she's going to be Nickelodeon All Stars along with Cat Dog, and that one almost surprised me much more because I mean Nickelodeon has had TMNT games or TMT shows, and we know that some of the turtles are in it, but like. That April wasn't in their shows. That's the one from the old cartoon. So right. I was like, okay, yeah, good for me though. I'll take it. I'm all about it.
That yellow jumpsuit, good for me. Good for me.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm happy for you, Mike. I'm very happy for you.
Yeah, good stuff. In Shredder's Revenge, she has that her move for when people are on the ground. She drops the mic on them. She can use pizza to revive the turtles.
That's good.
Yeah, and she attacks people with her butt sometimes, and that's good too.
So speaking of April O'Neil attacking people with her butt, the Gunk comes out in December. So that's the next piece of news. You were not excited about the Gunk as you are about April O'Neil, I don't think.
Absolutely not.
I am. I like that studio. The Gunk finally got a date coming in December. They didn't actually give the date on opening night live. You had to go to the website to see it, but. So they showed a new trailer for it. It was weird. It was like 30 seconds, but I'm still excited for the game. And yeah, we talked about Lego Star Wars. The only other thing I put on the rundown from opening night live is this Dokev game, which is the weird one where they have every single possible idea possible, and then the characters look like little weird mannequins, but it also looks like a Pokemon game, and it looks way better than the other Pokemon game.
Yeah, that was this was like one of the South Korean deals, and it's like, why is this random studio from South Korea making something that's so much prettier than and obviously part of that is because they don't have to make a game for the Switch, but even still, we see Switch games that look better than the Pokemon games do. And again, how much does it really matter for Pokemon games? Not that much. But it still feels like there is a line, right. And we should be a little closer to that line with stuff like Arceus.
Yes, and I mean, who knows? Maybe Arceus would be way more fun, but yeah. This is the time of the show where I always want to remind people, and specifically because I know he's going to ask, 9 Lives, 210's going to say, hey, is this live? And no, we're pre-recorded. Okay, so let's get to the other news. California is expanding its lawsuit against Activision to basically to shift the language from employees to workers, and that would seemingly be to cover contract employees who aren't technically employees or people that they work with temporarily. And it just, to me, it just suggests that there is they are widening the scope of where this might go to and make sure that they cover people who aren't even necessarily covered by contracts or something like that. But also, the state of California's Department of Fair Employment and Housing has said that Wilmer Hale, the law firm that's known for union busting and is being brought in by Activision to allegedly help handle this and change their internal culture. The state says that law firm is causing problems for the investigation and essentially interfering in the investigation by allegedly trying to make things better at Activision. They might be actually getting in the way of being of the state being able to conduct their interviews in a way that is right. So one of the things that's happening is the state saying, hey, we need to talk to this person, and Activision's like, okay, and then Activision has those people talk to Activision and Wilmer Hale first, and then they go and talk to the state, and in the Department of Fair Employment and Housing, it's like, okay, this is causing problems. And also on top of that, we've discovered that the Human Resources Department has been shredding documents that we consider pertinent to this case. And
That sure is the one that stands out to you, huh?
That seems like a problem.
That seems like a no-no.
Yeah, it seems like something you shouldn't do, and you are really worried about what's going to come of this. So,
no, you shred documents that you're okay with. Usually.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
you shred the good ones. That
yeah,
make
to
you
shred
look good.
you shred your awards and things, and
Yeah.
We'll continue to follow this, but Activision continues to look bad. Blizzard specifically, but the entire company.
The HR department almost even more.
Yes, the HR department across the entire organization seems like a real issue. But California doesn't seem like they're going to let them off the hook. So hopefully we'll see something come of that.
Yeah. Again, it's. I wish I knew what the timeline is. Like when does the hammer really fall down from all this? I don't know. I don't know if it's months or years.
Yep. Next story is Hades is now out on a bunch of consoles. You can get it on your PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, and it has become the highest rated game on the PS5 or the Xbox Series X so far. I think it has a 94 on Metacritic on Xbox Series X and a 93 on PS5, and that's higher than any other game on those platforms, and I think that is probably correct.
Yeah, Hades is one of those games when I recommend to somebody, I never have anybody be like, that wasn't for me. Even like some of the big hits, right? Like Breath of the Wild or Hollow Knight. I know people are just like, that just wasn't my thing. Everyone seems to like Hades.
Yeah, exactly.
That just seems to work for everyone.
Yeah, people, and it's kind of it's a little bit I feel vindicated when people go to play that and on like the PS5 and they go, oh, okay, so yeah, this is a little bit better than Returnal, and I'm like, that was like, yeah, that's I'm just like, I played Hades.
Is that what that whole thing was? Was it just all the people who thought that Returnal was fantastic hadn't played Hades? Is that what was going on?
That's what was going on.
That might make some sense.
It makes a lot of sense.
I thought Returnal's bad, but
no, it's good. It's just not to the level of like what we've seen in the recent past. So it was a tough comparison for Returnal, but also like it was clear that Hades benefited from this long early access period to get honed into this roguelite perfection, and Returnal could have been the same thing, but when it came out, it wasn't. It was just a really solid base. But yes, it's vindicating to have people come out and kind of come to that realization and be like, oh wow, Hades is like a really good version of Returnal.
What do you think? What are we gonna get as the Hades follow-up here? Are we gonna get?
I don't know.
Are they just going to do a new game like Supergiant likes to do? Are we getting Hades 2? Or are they gonna do the Dead Cells thing where we get a lot of sort of DLC?
I think we get a lot of DLC because I think this game could sell for a very long time. So
right, that's what I was wondering. Although part of me is like, I feel like we should have been hearing about one of those by now. But I guess they're busy porting it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. They're porting it. I think this question came up on Grubb Snacks this week, where what's happening there? It's like they just got it to these other consoles, so we'll hear about that stuff soon. Okay. Few other stories. Jesse McCree is getting a name change. Mike, what's going on here?
Okay, so the real life Jesse McCree was a longtime Blizzard employee, and when they made a cowboy for Overwatch, they just like, hey, this guy's worked at Blizzard for a while. His name sounds like a cowboy name. We'll just name our character after him. And probably made a lot of sense at the time. Well, he was one of the people who was in that Cosby Suite photo, but was also let go. So, and I assume that's not just because he was in that Cosby Suite photo. I assume that there were other things we don't even really know about yet. He was problematic. And it was awkward because there's a popular, like, day one Overwatch character named after him, who's important to the story, is going to be a part of Overwatch 2 and future Overwatch events. So what were they going to do? And they finally came out and announced today they are changing McCree's name. Still not exactly sure what that looks like. I don't know if there's like a story thing where he's like, oh, I'm going back to my given name, or if it's just going to be like, my name was McCandlin all along, and we're just going to pretend like that's what it was. There's a couple. I know there's like a World of Warcraft zone from Legion that was named after another employee that's getting changed. They also specifically said we will not be naming stuff after employees anymore, which I think is just a good lesson for every single person to learn now.
Yes. Yes, I think so. Because even when the person quits or whatever, like if they go work at a competitor, it might be a little bit weird. But yeah, you always run this risk. I think it's a good rule to have. You were saying like Mick Hanlon. Are there like rumored names, like possible names, or is that just something you pulled out of your head?
That was just something I pulled out of my ass. I don't know. There's a reference to the fact that Jesse McCree's not his real name. At least.
So yeah, there's something. There's something there.
I don't know. I mean, are they going to go back and change his name? Like, there's that CG movie they made with McCree. Where people, like, what are you going to go back and change that thing now? You're going to change all the voice lines? It's awkward. It's a bit of a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation.
Sure.
But I think ultimately it's probably something you have to do, as awkward and weird as it is. And a lot of people aren't going to understand. They're going to be unhappy about it. And I'm trying to figure out if there was some kind of is there a comparison for this? Is something like this happened to this degree? I just like such an established character just being renamed. It's a little, you know what, the closest thing actually just happened is that stuff going on with changing Boba Fett's ship name, right?
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, but we don't, and we're not even like sure like what the origin of that was, or if that was like came down from on top, or it was like just some confusion or what. Yeah, but it's similar.
Even that's different because they can get along with Boba Fett just saying my ship forever. Right?
Yes.
That's fine. This is the guy's name, and people have been playing this game now for 5 years and calling him McCree and all stuff. And look, I mean, it's going to be hard for me to be like that guy's not McCree now. I'll probably get over it. Like, look, I'm the guy who defended the Cleveland Indians changing their name to the Guardians. This stuff doesn't upset me too much. It doesn't. It ultimately does not matter. But
I believe you've said you were the famous person who said, "What's in a name?" Like you came up with that line, so that was always you.
That was me. Yeah. But does the rose not smell as sweet?
Yes. Really good stuff there, by the way, Mike. Yeah, poetic. I'll be interested to see what they do. I think they'll probably go with something like just calling him the Cowboy from now on, or something like that.
I don't know. Maybe he'll be the man with no name. Somebody said he should do like the Washington football team, and he should just be a cowboy DPS hero.
Right. Yeah. Shot through Nambani with a cowboy with no name. Exactly.
What is a name? Miserable little pile of secrets. Yeah, I was just told that from Mattathias. I'll be curious to see what it is. I mean, it doesn't help that the Overwatch community is already riled up because, you know, the game has been
and this is the thing that this is like the first thing they're hearing about in a long time. It's like, I mean, I'm sure that there is stuff in the works, and it probably has a lot to do with McCree as the character. But so you got to do this now before that stuff. That's the problem.
The day before this all happened with Blizzard and all this stuff, they gave me an embargo for a free-for-all map that was going to come to Overwatch.
Yes, that's right.
And then they immediately were like, never mind. And they talked about that in this thing. They finally announced that that's happening, and they said, look, this is going to be part of a storyline event with McCree, so that's why this is getting delayed a bit there. And a lot of people were just like, we don't want a free-for-all map anyways right now. Like, my God, the game is dying. It's been stale forever. Free-for-all is basically a bonus mode, deathmatch. It doesn't ultimately matter. It's nice to have, but people are starving, and there's rumors now that Overwatch 2 is going to be a 2023 game, which at this point I almost believe. Yes, and that is nuts. But like that Overwatch is basically going to have this 2-year stagnant dead period between the release of 1 and 2, and it's like something really went wrong there with the planning and the timing of all of that. Then because you can't leave Overwatch 1 basically alone this long. So I
remember when I thought Overwatch 2 was going to be a launch game for these new systems back in late 2020.
I think a lot of people, when they showed it off at BlizzCon, and I played at that BlizzCon, and the pitch of what they showed, like, yeah, we're adding some new heroes, and there's going to be a new co-op mode. I was like, oh, okay, yes, this will be out in like 6 months.
Yep.
Like, that was my thinking. Like, oh, so instead of getting like a new hero in like 3 months and a new map in 3 months, we're just going to wait like a little bit longer, and we're going to, you know, obviously they must have hired up or something to produce like more content and whatnot. And apparently that was just not the case. They actually fired people and let them go. So it's a mess. It's a mess. We'll see. It's going to be curious to see if Overwatch 2 like can come out and rebound from it right now. But, you know, a few years ago, even still, Overwatch seemed like it was one of the biggest games in the world. And now it's just got one foot in the grave and another hand clutching at this promise of Overwatch 2. And we'll see which one. We'll see if it gets dragged down or if it can hold on to that sequel.
Oh boy. All right. So the uncertain future of Overwatch lingers. We got a little bit more news. The Simpson Hit and Run source code has leaked online. Apparently, Simpsons Hit and Run, for the children who would not know, and for the rest of us who don't remember, was the open world GTA style Simpsons game. This is something that like has continued to get some support on PC from modders, like where like you can like stitch the whole world together, because it was like there were like big sections, actually sort of like early GTA games where you like have different sections. But now we have the whole source code. To me, that suggests like we could get a lot more cool stuff in this game. It's one of the best Simpsons games, so I'm happy about this.
I feel like that's usually the answer you get the most if you ask people what their favorite Simpsons game was, is they'll say Hit and Run. I actually missed it for some reason, so I'd be excited or interested to play it again now. Right,
and it's the kind of thing with the source code out there, not just modders, but like a lot of people could go back and add a bunch of cool stuff like widescreen support, like ultra widescreen support and super high resolutions, kind of like what we got with the Super Mario 64 PC port. So this game's already on PC, but you could do even more with the source code. So that'd be cool. I would love to get a chance to.
I owned a lot of the bad Simpsons games as a kid.
Same.
I had versus the Space Mutants on NES. I had
played it all the time.
Yeah,
I played it all the time.
There's that Game Boy one. It was the camp. It wasn't Camp Krusty. It was a different camp, but it was like Barted Camp. It was like the one game I would use my Game Boy Game Genie on constantly because I couldn't do anything with it without that. And then I had Bart's Nightmare on Super Nintendo, which was kind of a nightmare. But I actually played it quite a bit. So
Same. I played those games all the time. Yeah, I don't know. It's cool to like get to play around as Bart Simpson back then, especially.
Oh yeah. Then I had Virtual Springfield for the PC, and that was great because that was just like one of those like weird kind of like late 90s PC games where it was just walk around Springfield. It wasn't like a 3D explorable area though. You're like clicking on the arrows to like go to the next spot.
Right.
Here's the Quickie Mart, and here's Abu, and go over it. Here's the library. There's where Lisa is, and I liked that.
I'm trying to see if there's any Simpsons games even on Steam. Simpsons, no, there's nothing, not a single one.
They made that like the Simpsons game around when the movie came out, and apparently like it's just impossible to get anywhere now, which is a shame because that one was actually pretty good too.
I don't remember that at all. I don't think.
Really, no, they made like that the big like EA Simpsons game came out the movie, and it came out like on every platform, and it was pretty neat. It was basically just like a 3D action platformer thing with like a lot of effort put into it.
Oh, weird. Okay, then Stardew Valley Esports is finally here. The creator of Stardew Valley announced the Stardew Valley Cup, which is going to be an esports tournament with a $40,000 prize pool. I don't know what this means. I don't know what Stardew Valley Esports.
I know I've seen speedrun categories where it's like getting married as fast as possible. I like to imagine it's that. Maybe it's like making the biggest profit in like 1 year or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it's got to be something along those lines. Either way, it's a really fun idea, and I'll check it out when it happens. And then the last thing I had here was the Metroid Dread trailer, but we watched that. So that does it for the news, Mike. Should we get to some super chats?
Absolutely. We got a bunch here to get through. Thank you everybody for sending those. You can keep them coming. James Gold here says, I have a 2-month-old daughter, and like Jeff, Switch gaming is convenient. I want to play the Metroid, sorry, I have that in my head, the Mass Effect trilogy and have a PC. Should I hold out hope for a Switch port?
I would say that you should hold out hope for a Steam Deck. A Switch port still makes sense. I never heard about it back when I was first asking about this stuff. I could check in and see see what's happening at EA in terms of their support for Switch. But I'm gonna play that game on handheld on a Steam Deck this holiday, whenever that thing comes out, whenever I get mine. And I think the Steam Deck is going to make a lot of sense for a lot of these games that were like, hey, will they come to Switch? Well, let's just stop waiting. Let's all just go get Steam Decks and play it that way. Even if you got the really cheap version, that kind of game would run really well on there. And so you know, $400 and you get a big SD card, it would be fine. It's going to have slightly like some loading times, but the loading times should actually still be faster than they are on the Switch. So if that's your point of comparison, yeah, I mean, you didn't come here to have me tell you to go buy new hardware. So when it comes to your specific answer, I don't know. I don't think so.
Kung Fu Hot Dog says, hello, boys. Since Activision are alleged to have destroyed documents, how will the DFEH pursue this? Also notes that Midnight Fight Express was his highlight at Gamescom.
Yeah, that Midnight Fight Express looked pretty cool. I don't know. I think the Department of Fair Employment and Housing will probably continue to try to pursue every avenue. So, and they might charge someone with obstruction of justice and things like that. If I think they would have, or obstruction of official business. If it's not exactly obstruction of justice, there are other obstruction sort of laws on the books that would cause problems for people doing that. And if they are able to track down emails of someone saying, "Hey, shred this stuff," that person could get in a lot of trouble. So they'll just keep going down the path, going down every single opportunity to find out who is doing what wrong, and hopefully that'll all come to justice in the end.
Uriel Delgado says, "Happy Friday. Any news on whether Microsoft has gotten any Asian studio acquisitions? I remember Phil talking about that region being important."
I not acquisitions. I still think that there's a chance that Microsoft's going to invest in an Asian studio, likely a Japanese studio, but it'll be an investment and it won't be a full acquisition, I don't think. And we haven't heard about it yet. I think we might hear about it before the end of the year, but I'm not sure on that. It's still up in the air, still something that could fall apart. We'll see what happens.
Deadly Virus Evo says, "Any news on Battlefield and Hazard Zone or open beta?"
So I've started hearing a little bit more about this, but I don't have the go ahead to talk about it yet. So bear with me, and I'll see if I can get more details. And when I do come out with the stuff, I'll make sure that we do it here on GamesBeat Decides so everyone can know. Because we've been asked about this one a lot, and I will keep asking. I'll keep looking into it.
Ron says, "Lately, I've seen people convinced that companies are making their old multiplayer games worse to encourage people to stop playing so they have an excuse to shut them down, such as Bad Company 2. This makes no sense to me."
Yeah, I think that doesn't make a lot of sense. It takes effort to make something worse, I think. It takes effort to be malevolent like that. And the reality is that it's much easier to just let the thing let entropy work its magic, and eventually these things will just fall apart on their own. So if that's your desire, it's not worth putting money into it to make it worse, to actually put someone on that job. A company like EA with multiple big games coming out, get those people working on new games that are actually going to make money and not on making old games worse. The cost of keeping those things running is significant, but not so substantial that they would need to undermine their own games and their own fan bases to get rid of them. I don't think that's what's happening.
Kung Fu Hot Dog says, "Jeff and Mike, you two need to do a segment like the Barbecue Pit Boys, where you're outdoors, glistening beards, drinking beers, and stacking the beef and cheese. I mean, yank my chain." Yeah, I'll tell you what, if we were both together, I feel like that would just be the format. We would just be it.
Yes. That would be fun.
Fantastic.
Well, once traveling happens again, if we do an in-person E3 ever again, we'll do a couple shows like that, maybe early in the week or late in the week. But yeah, right now while traveling's difficult, it's hard to even imagine that. But
yeah,
at
some point one of us is going to have to visit the other one.
Yes, we'll make that happen. I have family in Ohio, so I'm sure I'll just end up over in that area eventually. So,
and I'm single and childless, so I could just do whatever I want. So I could just go to Colorado at some point.
Yes, exactly. So we'll keep that in mind, and we'll do some barbecue and podcasting. That sounds fun.
So I have to make Jeff watch Commando. So
I've watched Commando finally.
Oh,
yeah.
You didn't tell me?
I think did I not tell? I tweeted about it, and I thought.
Oh my God! I tweeted about it, so obviously you saw it. Get over yourself, Jeff. Well, did you like Commando?
I loved it. It was so much fun. It's great.
It's the best Schwarzenegger movie.
I was setting up Metroid Other M for streaming on this screen, and I was watching Commando on this screen. And it was fantastic. It was a really good night. I'm like, all right, I'll get Metroid Other M's ready on Dolphin or whatever. And then I ended up just watching the movie most of the time instead. It was great.
Hey, Jeff, remember when I said I'd kill you last? I lied. Oh, man.
A lot of good lines. You could tell that, I only recently found out that Schwarzenegger would bring in his own writer to help with the one-liners and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
To all his movies, and you could really tell in that movie that's it is that person writing those lines.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. If anyone ever asks you what's Mike Minotti's favorite Schwarzenegger movie, if you're on Jeopardy or something, if they finally get a host, that'll be the answer.
Mine's still The Running Man. Yeah, mine's still The Running Man.
Great. I'm not upset about that choice.
So good.
Yeah, Running Man's very good. But me and my friends just watched the Commando a ton in high school and everything. It's got a soft spot for me. Modo Mufti says, I find it hard to judge production value in AAA games these days. As a point of comparison, which one of these games do you think was more expensive to make? Halo Infinite or Horizon Forbidden West? I mean, Halo Infinite just from virtue of being delayed by 13 months.
Yeah.
Like that's 13 months more of paying all
Everybody.
those people
Yes.
working on Halo Infinite and everything else. But even if both these games like came out on their original dates, I imagine more money was being funneled into Halo.
I agree. I think that's right. I think Halo Infinite is a very expensive game to make. They're working with a lot of external studios, but even then, that's like they're it was a big team. But yeah, right now, like what Mike said, that extended production schedule, that balloons budgets. Like you just got to keep in mind, every day you're making a game, like you're spending what, like $25,000 at least, like every day, like probably a lot more than that. So yeah, any delay is going to cost a lot of money.
Kelly Jama says, notice people are mad at the XP system of Halo in multiplayer. I don't know anything about this, Jeff. Have you noticed this, or people chatting about this?
I was just reading it today, and I was trying to understand why people were mad, and I only got far enough to see that like there's not XP in like, so you have like the battle pass system in most games, and the way you unlock stuff is by earning XP. Halo's doing it differently, and that's as much as I know. Like you can why
even do it differently?
I don't know. But I think let's try it before we get mad, maybe. But I don't know. Maybe people have very specific problems with it. Chad, if you have an issue with it, let us know and we'll talk about it. But
that's really why Modern Warfare 1 was such a big hit, because it was the first one that's like, oh, also you gain levels through playing, so all of a sudden there's a progression system, and everybody really fell in love with that.
Yep, I agree that the Skinner box has worked forever. It will always work, so why give it up? But yeah.
Evan Dance asks, Hideo Kojima or Hidetaka? Is that Hidetaka?
Hidetaka Miyazaki.
Hidetaka Miyazaki. I mean, I know Miyazaki because I'm a Ghibli weeb, but yeah.
He's the director of From Software, so yeah.
I'm not a big From Software fan. Bloodborne's the only one I actually even beat. I even Sekiro, which people really love, I was enjoying it, but wasn't compelled to finish it. So I'll go with Kojima. I like Metal Gear Solid a lot, actually. Those games are fantastic, especially like the really good ones, like 1 and 3. Those are like all-time great games. So I'll still say Kojima, even as he becomes slightly obnoxious. Yeah,
I like before a game comes out, Kojima. After a game comes out, or like playing the game, Miyazaki. That's my answer, because I like Kojima's like build up for games and all his bullshit when he's trying to market something. That stuff works for me.
Jeremy G asks, what's the next event for Abandoned to no show?
I don't know. What's next? I guess a State of Play, probably. The State of Play in September, or maybe a Nintendo Direct or something like that. So
I feel like that, like it's now gotten from like being, oh, it's weird how incompetent it is, so it must be like a joke too. Now it's so incompetent, everyone's like, okay, there's no way that this is actually a Silent Hill game.
I don't think this game ever comes out. Is where I'm at right now with it. I don't think we ever play a game called Abandoned.
Right?
Yes. It's happening with like I think all of their stuff. I don't think we ever play something called Abandoned or whatever it's actually going to end up being called. But
the big question is going to be, how did Sony get kind of suckered into showcasing this game that one time?
Yes, and I still think the answer is Hassan is good at talking to people. I think people underestimate what that is. Like, there's so many people who've gotten into positions in their lives by being charming, and I think Hassan might just be one of those people. So I think that's what happened.
I can totally see that. That's where I am. That's why I've succeeded.
Oh yeah, no, I say this about you all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just that charming. All right then. Brett Bingham says, Jeff, 1 year from now is gonna say Bobby Kotick started his new job as a janitor at EA with ambitions to work his way up the corporate ladder to become CEO. I wish. Probably not. I still feel like Kotick
still untouchable is what he feels like right now.
The very worst case scenario, which I can't even imagine, or the very worst case is for some reason, like we find something horrible, he goes to jail. Don't imagine that's happening. Worst case is early retirement, which for a gazillionaire won't be so bad.
Yep.
And he can just start like a new, if he really wanted to. For a lot of people, be like, when Morheim left Blitz, like, oh, he can start his own studio now, do things his way. That's not what Kotick wants. Kotick likes being in charge of a giant studio, so I can't imagine he would go like start over again from scratch.
No way. Yeah,
he'd probably just be like, all right, I'll just go live in my mansion now. Brett Bingham says McCree's real name is Connor MacLeod of the Clan MacLeod. There can be only one.
Clan McLeod from the clan. Yes, Connor
I figured
McLeod.
this was a reference, and I was going to mispronounce it and embarrass myself, but I had to go at it. What is Clan MacLeod?
The Highlander. Yeah, I think is Connor McLeod. Is that? Yeah, that's the movie
Yeah, well,
one.
now I feel bad. Yeah, those are movies I probably should have seen. I remember always walking through like the old Best Buy DVD section. Like, there's a lot of these Highlander movies.
The first one is pretty okay. The second one is like completely like undoes some of the stuff and it's weird. But yeah, like the first one holds up pretty okay. The show, I always watched the show as a kid, so I like the Highlander TV show, and I don't think that was Connor McLeod. It was a different McLeod, which is like weird.
Back when I was younger, I think I got it mixed up with Mad Max a lot because they were both just these things I hadn't seen.
That's fair. That happens to me. I got Guyver and McGyver mixed up because of the names, and they're nothing alike.
Ariel Delgado says Scorn's coming for Xbox Fall 2021. It's a spooky game. I don't know about spooky games.
It's like the gross one, right? With like the wall penises.
That sounds right. Sounds right. Wall penises. Huh?
Yeah. I think Scorn's gonna make it out this year, so we'll see.
Victor Marinez says, unless you count Kirby and the Amazing Mirror, I've never been into Metroidvanias. Played Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night, and loved it. I can't get into Hollow Knight, though. See, I'm the opposite in a lot of ways. I love Metroidvanias and loved Hollow Knight. I did not get into Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night. I probably need... Is it running well on Switch now? If it's running well on Switch...
I wonder. I don't know. It's probably running well enough. I have it. I could check in on it and see what it's like and let you know.
Yeah, but I don't know. I probably need to. I think I need to play again and just tell myself it's okay to skip these dialogue boxes and cutscenes.
Yeah, the problem is there is some like directions in some of the cutscenes that you need to listen to know where to go, or you'll get stuck.
I'm gonna have to listen to them, and that was my biggest turn off thing. Like, oh my god, I don't care.
It's too much talking. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Iron.
Go ahead.
Oh, something else you want to say about that? Did you want to throw in a cheap shot at Hollow Knight? Is that what it was?
I thought about starting Hollow Knight again, but I'm so busy with so many games right now that it's like hard to get into that one.
You gotta beat Other M first.
I know, I gotta beat Other M, right? And I'm like, I want to play Psychonauts 2, and there's like no time in my life for games. But yeah, I'll try.
Iron Arse Hands says, hey, cheese chaps, with old Amiga IPs like Zool and Turrican getting recent releases, that's where Zool comes in. It does look like an Amiga game.
Yes.
Jeff was playing, I think the last show or one of these shows, I thought Zool was just one of those B-tier Nintendo 64 3D platformers, just because the characters, like, colors reminds me of ugly Nintendo 64 stuff. But no, Zool... Okay, Zool's an Amiga thing. That makes a lot of sense. Anyways, with old Amiga IPs like Zool and Turnican getting recent re-releases, do you think Cannon Fodder will get the same treatment? Thanks. It seems like a possibility. Can't imagine why not.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what Cannon Fodder is. I
vaguely know what Cannon Fodder is.
I was never an Amiga guy.
No, me neither. I mostly was aware of it because they're games ported to like the Genesis and Super Nintendo, and they always feel a little different and weird. And many years later, I'm like, oh, because those are ported from Amiga games. Now it kind of makes sense. The Turrican games are great. I feel like those are the best of that Amiga.
There's a Cannon Fodder 3 from 2012 on Steam. Is that in the same thing?
I'm sure he's probably talking about the old, probably better regarded Cannon Fodder games for the Amiga.
I'm sure. Yes, I get the context, but I wonder if this is like in that series. I don't know.
I'm sure it's in that series. I'm sure, but yeah.
Mike's right though. These kinds of things have a better chance of coming back now than they ever have. People are nostalgic and have a lot of money, so yes.
Especially Cannon Fodder is RTS, and I feel like that's kind of making a comeback. I think that got stifled a bit when the Warcraft 3 Reforged was awful, and that probably delayed that by a couple years. But the comeback is still happening. We know that's what one of those like Blizzard refugee studios is working on, is an RTS. So we'll see. Brett Bingham says, any Tokyo Game Show or Video Game Award announcements, rumors yet? I feel like nothing super exciting has happened at Tokyo Game Show for a long time. I'm probably wrong,
right?
But I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like there might be some stuff that makes sense for both of those shows, but nothing solid yet. Nothing. It's too early.
I mean, even a lot of the Japanese developers now care much more about the Western market, so they'd rather be at the Game Awards and stuff like that. Like, we know, like, it's a big mobile gaming culture over there now. Video Game Awards, there will be announcements. I don't know. I don't know if you have any ideas yet, Jeff. It's a little far out.
I think this is probably where we'll see some Hellblade 2 gameplay. I think Microsoft's going to have quite a few things that could be in the Game Awards. I think Nintendo will probably be there with something, but nothing. It's still too early to know for sure on any of those things.
Alexander Dark 91 says, "Do you think Square releases Forspoken and Final Fantasy 16 both in 2022?" I wouldn't be shocked if Forspoken is the one that's maybe further out, even though we technically have seen more of it. But like what we've seen has also seemed like way more like slicey, you know. Whereas Final Fantasy 16, we got a montage trailer, which is usually a better sign, right?
I agree.
Yeah,
I think Forspoken's probably a little bit later, and I think only one of these games comes out in 2022.
I think Final Fantasy 16 might be late 2022 because that same team is basically the one doing Endwalker for Final Fantasy 14, is my understanding. So and that's coming out this fall, and then they'll be ready to release 16 next fall.
And Final Fantasy VII Remake 2 is still somewhere, so
that's still not even announced. It like that probably won't be announced. Like maybe that gets announced at the Game Awards. I'd be surprised. I'd probably announce at E3 2022 at the earliest,
probably
if that. Hey, how about this? Related from Game Over Brian. Question for Jeff: when upgrading Final Fantasy VII Remake for PlayStation 5, do trophies pop up automatically?
Game Over Brian, they do pop up automatically. Game Over Brian, for people who don't know, goes around to a bunch of different shows and asks this question with a super chat every single week. So it's the first time he's ever done it here, and I gotta say it feels nice with Game Over Brian. So thank you a lot for that. I appreciate it.
I was kind of upset he asked. He was like, "I'm the one who's actually upgraded Final Fantasy. I know the answer, but I wasn't aware of the answer." I
was correct though, right? It automatically pops, Mike.
Yeah, I think that's right. I'm pretty sure that's right. Yeah.
That's fun stuff. Thanks, Brian.
Mognak says, "Do you think From Software will release the 15-minute gameplay footage?"
So what he's referring to here is that you had to submit at least 10 minutes of gameplay footage to Gamescom to be considered for one of their weird awards that they were giving out throughout that week and throughout Opening Night Live or whatever. When I think Elden Ring won best PlayStation game. So someone saw that stuff. That stuff exists. Will we see it? I would say probably. I don't know if we see it in that exact same format. They might spruce it up, cut it up a little bit more. But there's a chance that if it looks good, it won them award, they could just put it on YouTube and say, hey, here's here's the 15 minutes of gameplay. Check it out. I think there's a chance we'll see it.
Monax also asked, this is our last super chat for now, will we ever see another Sleeping Dogs? Man, I don't. There was a point where. First the game came out, it was just this flew under the radar, but then it got lifted up a lot and it was getting ported to a lot of things. But that's been a while ago now, so I feel like the chance for that has sort of fallen by the wayside.
Yes, I agree mostly. That it felt like there was a possibility there at some point that we could see something, but it's since we haven't heard anything, it could just by the time they get around to thinking about maybe doing it again, it might be too late. Or at least in their opinion, they might feel it's too late. Okay, we got a bunch of questions from the Discord. Let's get into these. Let's hit a good pace here. First one from Nick Turbo. Buy one, rent one, and one goes away forever. Kingdom Hearts, Brawl's opening, Nick Turbo.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'll buy Kingdom Hearts, and this is always more for you. Well, there's a bit of something for everyone. I'll buy Kingdom Hearts. I will rent Brawl's opening. I will banish Nick Turbo to the Nether Realm.
Yeah, I'll buy Nick Turbo. I'll rent Brawl's opening, and Kingdom Hearts can go away forever.
Wow, the opposite. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, you are weird.
Another one from Nick Turbo. Reminder: you now have a little over a month left to review the Balan book. Ooh. Thank you, Nick Turbo, for that reminder.
I was watching some video and the guy talked about the Balan book a lot. Sounds pretty interesting, Jeff. This is going to really expand that lore for you.
It's not interesting. From Delta Prime 84, what do you guys think about the CM Punk return? I missed his WWE run, so I have no attachment to him, but I couldn't help but have a massive grin on my face seeing the massive reaction. It's so good to have fans back in wrestling.
Yeah,
back into wrestling.
I was really excited for that. I was at two AEW shows in Pittsburgh a couple weeks ago. It was the week before Punk returned. We all knew he was going to return. They were very clear about it. And then when it happened, that was super exciting to watch. I was a little disappointed with Dynamite on Wednesday because they had so many more extra eyes because Punk was there. And it came out with only a decent show. It seemed like a time they really should have put up a really good card to capitalize on that. But Seeing Punk back is great. He seems enthusiastic. He seems energized. He's going to be on again tonight. I actually saw CM Punk's last match. It was at the Royal Rumble in Pittsburgh in what 2014 or something like that. So I was there for his last match, which is kind of funny to think about. I love CM Punk a lot back when he was in WWE, especially when there were some rough spots there. He was always a kind of bright spot. So I'm way into it.
Eric asks, has raising games to $70 helped Sony, hurt Sony, or is it too soon to say?
I think it may be like specific. Maybe it hurt Returnal a little bit, but otherwise, maybe. I don't know. Like maybe that's the reason why Ratchet and Clank, like, it's like the best. It's going to be the best selling Ratchet Clank game, but some of us look at the numbers and are like, well, why isn't it like going to be
8 million copies, right?
8 million copies instead of like 3 or 5. Yeah. So.
Yeah. I think that's generally right. I think that it might it's probably going to help Sony in the long run. I think it's too early to say for sure right now, but my guess is in the long run it's going to help Sony because they generally want to keep prices higher for longer this generation. That seems to be the accepted wisdom about Sony's strategy going forward. They want to make their games really important and to the point where people want to spend $70 on them. But then when they don't go down in price to like $30 for a very long time and people go to the store and it's like still at least like $60 or $50, people are still willing to pay that price because they knew it was 70, and so dropping down to 50, which wouldn't have felt like much of a discount before, now it feels much more significant, and yet it's still getting
sure.
The average price per sale is still going to be much higher for Sony for a lot of this generation. So I think it's going to help them in the long run.
I just remember with wrestling. Did you see that the next WWE 2K game like isn't coming out this fall? That got delayed.
It got delayed. So I guess that's some news we missed. And WWE isn't too happy with 2K, but from what I've heard about that,
right.
There's been some reporting about that as well. So.
Yeah, that's like coming out like the spring. I don't know what the thinking was when they dropped Ukes from that whole thing, and now they're just going to make the AEW game. I wonder when the AEW game is coming out because they can really capitalize on this. But I don't think it's coming out before this. Even still with the delay, I don't think it's going to come out before this 2K game.
No, I think they dropped Ukes because Ukes was talking to AEW. I think that's like what happened there.
Maybe that timeline almost seems a little early, but
yeah, but like Ukes was definitely like exploring other wrestling game opportunities. That was the news at that time.
Okay,
and I think it was like they knew something was happening. They were having preliminary discussions, or at least they knew there was going to be a chance, and so they started like working on their own thing, trying to be more ambitious because the WWE wouldn't let them, and the WWE's like, no, you can't make that as well. And so maybe they split up. I don't know for sure, but that's my hunch there. Okay. Let's see. This is from Eric. I asked this on Sunday during Jeff's call-in session, which for people who don't know, on the Discord, I did a stage on the Discord where I took questions from people about anything. But Eric asks, he hadn't watched yet, so I ask again, CM Punk, am I right? And I still haven't watched the full show, but from what I saw, I watched a few clips where I could find them. And it looked exciting. It looked really good.
It's a loud pop, as we say in the biz.
Right, yes, as we say in the biz. It was quite a pop.
I was a ring announcer one time, so I could say that. I was in the biz.
Okay, yeah, you're in the biz.
It was the show that Dick the Snake Roberts was at.
That's I did not know this about you.
Which was funny.
That's
for like
awesome.
An outstanding parking ticket or outstanding alimony, something like that.
That's incredible. Okay. All right, we got a big one here from Delta Prime 84. Let's do it. We are a month away from the release of the Diablo 2 remaster, and I still can't decide if I want to buy it. I love Diablo to the point I have multiple Diablo 3 characters with over 800 hours played. Wow. However, with all the shitty crap we have learned about Blizzard, I can't in good conscience support them. At the same time, there are female employees of Blizzard saying to please keep buying Blizzard games so they can keep getting their revenue share. Would I be correct in assuming that very little of my $70 Australian would actually go to the devs and people like Bobby Kotick and other executives that enabled abuse would get the majority of the money if I buy Diablo 2? So to clarify that question, yeah, would he be right in assuming that that money that you spend on the game is not going to go to the devs and is more likely going to go to Bobby Kotick?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, look, I definitely don't want to be like, oh, you're stupid if you don't want to play his games because they make you feel icky or whatever. Like, that's how you feel. That's fine. If you're worried about helping the bad people by buying Diablo 2, I wouldn't worry too much about that. Yeah. For one thing, Diablo 2 is a lot of Vicarious Visions, right? Who's recently been brought in there. And again, like there were a lot of bad actors. That's a problem. But even still, and like it's way more than it should be. But to be clear, like most people at Blizzard are still just a lot of people probably just trying to keep their heads down, do the right thing, make games, and we know that revenue share is how payments and bonuses work and stuff like that. So, and again, it's like the opposite way. Don't feel like you need to buy every Blizzard thing now to like help pay for these people's salaries. The point is, if you want to play Diablo 2 and you think it looks interesting, I don't think you need to feel guilty about buying it. If you hate Bobby Kotick, he's going to go down or not based on what is happening with the state of California, not with the sales of Diablo 2 are going to be.
Right. And, this is why we have state governments and oversight, from governments like this, federal bodies that can go and look at these companies so that you can live your life and spend your money how you want and not have to worry about things like, am I supporting bad people or am I depriving good people based on my purchasing decisions? That's not actually something that you can, first of all, it doesn't make much of a difference one way or the other. A wider boycott maybe could, but even then it's like those boycotts are less likely to be successful than something like the Department of Fair Employment and Housing actually running an investigation. That is actually the important thing here. Now, my point has been and continues to be, don't vote with your wallet. That's not actually.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up because you've said that many times before.
Yes, it doesn't make much of a difference one way or the other, and you should be worried about your own bottom line and your own enjoyment. And so if you go to try to purchase something and it makes you feel bad because you're like thinking about all this stuff that's going on with Activision, which is kind of where I'm at, where I'm like, thinking about spending money on Activision stuff right now makes me feel bad. Why would I spend money on something that makes me feel bad? That's my stance. But don't worry. It's not your responsibility to make sure that certain people get paid, even if they are good people. People work hard all over the world, and you don't spend money on their products just because they worked hard on it. People don't just give you money because you worked hard on something. They buy something because they want to buy the product, and that's the system we're in. And the ideal way the system works is, if there is something bad happening at the company, there is someone like investigators for the state of California that can come in and ensure that justice is served, and hopefully that's how this plays out. But I would, if you don't want to play it because you feel bad, I feel the exact same way.
Yeah, I mean, I understand because like I am a little conflicted myself because I'm gonna play it. I loved Diablo 2; it was one of my favorite games, and I don't know if I'm just like justifying my head by being like it's mostly Vicarious Visions, and the Diablo team was never. I say the Diablo team wasn't into a show, although Jesse McCree and was in the Diablo team, and the director of the Diablo team was also let go. And we're still not again, aside from the Cosby Suite connection, we're still not exactly sure what they did, but probably not. Obviously, it couldn't have been good. So it's a complicated situation. But again, you can do what you want. I think you're gonna you're not a bad person if you buy Diablo 2 and enjoy it.
Yeah, there's no moral. You can't make moral decisions under capitalism. It's like, no matter what you do, you're supporting some sort of exploitation. The whole system is exploitation. That's the whole idea. You want to exploit resources and people to get your own greatest personal gain.
Well, all this commie talk all of a sudden, right, guys? Whoa.
So, and this is the system that you lived under, and you had no choice in deciding to live under it. And so you can only be held so responsible for it. And anyone that thinks that they are going to be able to make perfect decisions under that system is fooling themselves. So,
yeah, I'm glad I got tired and sick of World of Warcraft months ago before this happened. That worked out well, and really Overwatch too. Like there was a point where I was religiously playing Overwatch, World of Warcraft, and Hearthstone. And I just happened to get bored of all of those games within like the last year. So thank God.
Right, and it's like you would be able to find issues on almost every developer and every publishers, and with anything. Period. Like you go and try to like buy a sandwich from a sandwich shop. I'm sure you'll be able to find an employee who has felt exploited by their boss. Like it's not great. I'm sure that you can have stories from your job. So. It's just not perfect, and that's the way the system is. From Nick Turbo, why has Ubisoft not really touched the first Assassin's Creed? I thought they would at least give it a remaster.
It's hard to forget, but like a lot of people were like cool on the first Assassin's Creed. It had a lot of hype, and then it came out, and it was like only getting 80s or such, and it wasn't until Assassin's Creed 2 that people really bought into the franchise. I liked Assassin's Creed 1. I thought that it's sort of that kind of old school Crusader era stuff was a lot of fun. Dalmasca and all that. I didn't even really mind the repetitiveness of it, and it was go to this town. You have to like do these 3 side things, then you find out where the guy was. But I really missed that format of, okay, here's the highly guarded area where the person you need to assassinate is. Find a way to get in, kill him, and then make your escape. That worked for me, and it even did in some of the sequels where they still kept that up. But even as soon as even Assassin's Creed 2, they were doing less of that stuff. So in some ways, I do miss Assassin's Creed 1, and I would be interested in a remaster. But I think it's easy for them to look at it and remember and be like, why bother with that one when we can
just make
they'll remaster Black Flag first at this point, which is one that everybody liked a lot.
Yeah, and the Mike's right. The basic answer here is they'll make more money either making a new game or finding some other older Assassin's Creed games to bring forward. Like we've seen that with Switch. Like they put all the like Black Flag and Rogue and a few other ones into a bundle and just sold it on Switch. That stuff would make more money than trying to update and modernize the original Assassin's Creed. It's just not worth the effort.
I mean, at some point they might get there, right? At some point they might run out of everything else, and it'll be like the 30th anniversary of Assassin's Creed 1 or something. So whatever, who knows?
From another one from Nick Turbo, Quake is so much fun. I have tried Doom 1 and 2 and Wolfenstein 3, and while they are important to video game history, they are not that fun to go back to. I agree and disagree. I like Doom 1 and 2 still a lot. He says, is there any other boomer shooters that feel like Quake?
Well,
Hexen, I would probably point to, and Heretic.
Yeah, Quake is different. Like the big difference between Quake and those other games you listed is that there is the Y-axis of aiming.
Yes, it's really mouse look. It's like the early mouse look game,
right? Or on Switch, it's dual stick shoot. Like I like the Doom 64 a lot, but it is very much just the turn left and right. And like if a person's above you, you automatically shoot them. That doesn't bother me. I'm fine with that. But if you specifically are into what you're talking about, try Quake 2. Try. Star Trek Elite Force was great. It's a little bit later than that, but right around that same time, like Jedi Outcast, all those sort of Quake 2, Unreal 2 engine games. I have a soft spot for all of those. Those are all a lot of fun.
I think you probably have to look around a little bit. I think you might have better luck with some of the modern boomer shooters. Stuff like Ultra Kill. Try out Ultra Kill. I really like that one. And that's like, what if people were still making Quake today? And it's good. But and basically anything from New Blood. New Blood is the publisher of these games, and they are able to find people who are working on new takes on boomer shooters and publishing them. And they're all on Steam, and they're good.
Yeah, speaking of like the Unreal Engine, Unreal 1 and 2.
Yeah, Unreal. Yeah, that might be. Yeah, that's a good one. Of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
Holy crap, we have a ton of questions. All right, let's get through them.
All right, let's go.
Delta Prime 84, in regards to what you said last week about NetherRealm, if Microsoft was to buy NetherRealm, it's pretty obvious they would make Killer Instinct games in between Mortal Kombat games, but what would Sony have NetherRealm work on between Mortal Kombat games? Personally, as long as I still get my PC version of Mortal Kombat day and date, and the quality's still great, I don't care who picks up NetherRealm. I don't know if it's obvious that they would work on Killer Instinct, because I think what you're suggesting here is Mortal Kombat, and then in the same way they've made Injustice, they would instead make Killer Instinct. I don't know if Mortal Kombat team would want to work on Killer Instinct. But to answer your question, what would Sony have them work on? I don't know.
I think both would maybe actually be like, let's do something new. Let's make a new franchise that we can now really tie into. The Xbox or PlayStation brand, and people are going to be interested because the NetherRealm brand is so strong. That's absolutely what PlayStation would do. It's not like, what else are they going to do? They're not going to do PlayStation All-Stars with those people. So, yeah, I think that's what it would be. I think that would be a smart choice. I think it's what Microsoft would do.
And I think there's a chance they would go out and try to get a brand similar to DC, like maybe Marvel's making those deals. Let them finally make a Marvel fighting game, but I'm not sure how good of a fit that is. So I think
Marvel's tough because there are just a lot of people who like Marvel vs. Capcom, and they're just always going to want that.
Yes. From Fresh, this December, are you ready to get gunky? Yes, I am.
No.
I am looking forward to that, and we're all just going to ignore Mike being a stick in the gunk. Sticking a gunk over there. Delta Prime 84 with another one. I was wondering, what can you tell me about the Chinese developer Liu, which is part of Tencent? They have come into the news in the Transformers collecting community because they have been developing Transformers games for Hasbro. But apparently they have hit trouble with high-level staff, including the CEO quitting. Also, they apparently broke their contracts with Amazon Games and 2K recently, causing them to pay millions of dollars in penalties to both companies. I don't know for sure, but my understanding is that that studio is a shell of its former self, and that it is basically now just working as a support studio for other Tencent projects. Like, yeah, it sounds like all of the key staff has left. All right. Louis Patelli. Happy Friday, fellas. With so many games being pushed into Q1 2022, it got me thinking about the industry's release strategy. It used to be most of the big releases were saved for the summer and especially the holiday season. Now it seems like their strategy is changing. We receive a plethora of big releases all throughout the year, and Q1 is especially packed next year. I'm wondering, is this mostly due to COVID, or has the industry upended the very release strategy it previously created?
I mean, even before COVID, this is just all about people. Now it's just you release the game as soon as you can. Usually as soon as you can. Once it's obvious it's not going to release when you wanted it to anymore. I do wonder if we're going to get to this point where release dates become more optimistic or have more room for like padding things out, or if there's this like if there's going to be a belief like you have to tell them it's supposed to be due at this point, because no matter what it's always going to take like an extra 6 months after that. I don't know, but basically games are so big and hard to make now. It's very hard to be like, this game right here is going to come out in November for sure, and we are positive about that, and nothing's going to go wrong. So things get pushed back, and now they're just kind of spreading it out over the year, which works out better in a lot of ways than like the old school way where we basically just had 1 million games in the fall and like a couple in the summer and then a few here and there.
From Knooble. Hi, Jeff. December is not fall Grubb, and Mike Onal Minotti. Buy, rent, cancel. Splinter Cell, Metal Gear, Hitman. Thanks.
Oh, dang. Okay.
That's tough. Okay.
That's tough. So, like, I haven't played any of the older Hitman games. So, as much as I love the newer ones, I'm not going to... My buy is going to be Metal Gear Solid. I said earlier, I really like those games.
Yeah.
Hitman will be my rent. Splinter Cell's never done anything for me. Like, back when the series was really good, it was a bit beyond me. I feel like, I don't know. I just wasn't into it. And then, like, the one I played was one of the 360 ones that was just much more of a like action third-person shooter thing, and it was fine. So yes, but I feel bad for other people who desperately want a new Splinter Cell because it's not happening, and it seems like it should happen, but it doesn't actually mean too much to me personally.
I really like that first Splinter Cell game. I really like the first Metal Gear game, and I love like Metal Gear 5 and all the ones in between. I've sort of, I could take or leave.
But you don't like Metal Gear Solid 3?
I haven't played it very much.
Wow.
Yeah, I actually started from like PlayStation Now, and then my PlayStation Now membership
it came out on the 3DS even.
I know. I actually am thinking about playing that one. But yeah, I just haven't played it. So I know people really like it, but I missed it. But I think to answer this, it's tough because while I Hitman I would want to buy, it seems like it's in a really good place right now. So if I only rent it, I feel like that's fine too. But no, I'm gonna buy Hitman, and I'm going to rent Metal Gear, and I'm gonna cancel Splinter Cell. I really like Splinter Cell, but I want to see more Metal Gear, and I want to see what happens with it. I feel like renting Metal Gear though means like what you actually end up getting is Metal Gear Survive 2. And instead of an actual Metal Gear, so I don't know what I'm doing there, but whatever. That's my answer. I looked at my Steam library the other day, and Metal Gear Survive was in there, and I had no recollection of ever redeeming a code or buying. I was kind of scared. I'm like, what the hell is this doing in here? That's funny. From Pliskin. Hello, Jeff and Mike. Looking at how stacked January through March is going to be. Oh, hang on, I messed up the question. Looking at how stacked January, March is going to be next year, how many of these games do you think will end up getting pushed so they can get out of the way of something bigger? I imagine some of these devs saw Horizon and said saw Horizon say it's going to release in the middle of February, and now are probably kind of mad. I feel like you're just going to move and then you're going to be in front of something else. Like Horizon's pretty big, but I don't know if it's like the kind of thing you move for.
Right, yeah, I agree with that. It's big, but you can mostly be fine. I feel like there was like one other like big-ish Sony game coming around then, and I was like, I wonder how they feel about it. I'm trying to remember what it is now.
Yeah, I can't remember it. A lot of stuff coming then, though. Delta Prime 84. Hey, Jeff, just a bit of the more you know PSA. While the U.S. uses the solstice to mark the transition of seasons, there are other countries that start the new season on the first of the month. So people that say the season starts on the first of the month are not wrong. They are just following their country's customs. That said, since Microsoft is a U.S. company, people should be smarter and assume they are using the solstice to mark the change of the season, not the first of the month, because it is a local custom in the U.S. to use the solstice. Yeah, a lot of people brought this up, that some people use the meteorological calendar, and to me that's just someone lying to you to make things easier. That's not what it is. That's not what winter means. Winter is when the longest day of the year happens, and then the 3 months until the equinox. That is what winter is. And because the weatherman was like, it's easier if it starts on the I know that the meteorological calendar serves purposes for, like, if you're trying to calculate crop yields and you're a farmer, it's easier to compare that year to year using a quarter-based system that is based on the seasons. Whatever, it's still not what winter really is. But I understand that some people, that a lot of countries use that other calendar. Oh man, Penny's passionate about this.
Penny is like, how dare you, Jeff? It's winter on December 1st. I'm gonna kill you. I know. Oh God.
Let's see. From Colnap, is Luigi's Mansion a sequel to Mario is Missing? Yeah, I always think of Mario is Missing when I play Luigi's Mansion, because he goes, Mario, like he's searching for Mario. So I definitely always felt in my heart that one was a spiritual successor to the other. But I don't know. I've never actually played Mario is Missing, so I don't know.
I had Mario is Missing, and I tried very hard to like it. But it was rough. It was better than Mario's Time Machine, at least, though. We can say that.
Yeah, but nothing compares to Mario Hotel Mario, whatever that one was.
The CDI game? Okay.
Yeah.
I never played it. If you said you played it, you're lying.
I've not played it, no. From Low Rule, what is your current game of the year, and do you expect any upcoming games to change that?
My current game of the year is... It's either Hitman 3 or Ratchet & Clank. I'm not sure yet. It's one of those two, and Metroid Dread's really right now the only one. I'm like, oh, maybe it'll be that. But I think that's where I'm at.
I'm basically the same. Hitman 3 is my number 1 right now. I think Ratchet & Clank is my number 2. I'm still pretty early in Psychonauts 2. I'm enjoying it. I'll have to see. I think I'm probably going to end up agreeing with Mike's take on that, which, if you read his review, he liked it a lot, gave it a 4 out of 5, but still expressed it.
I seem to not like it as much as some people.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying it's a Game of the Year contender, and I think for us, we're more on the Ratchet side. Yeah. And that's why it's still a good game as much as I played, and Mike beat it and reviewed it. But I think for the upcoming games, Metroid Dread, definitely. I'm starting to get pretty hyped about Deathloop after hearing this most recent round of previews, people playing it for 5 hours. It sounds really good, and I'm like getting my hopes up that it could be a Game of the Year contender. One of the things about that, it's like, imagine if Microsoft could have made all these games for the companies that it owns exclusive. Like, it would have had a really strong year. Like, if Psychonauts 2 was exclusive, if Deathloop was exclusive, it would have been in a much stronger position, and people would have been like, you only have Halo and Horizon. So, yeah.
I guess I should mention Endwalker. It's always weird with, like, expansions, how to make that
but
I'll say this.
We'll give you a pass on this one, Mike.
Yeah, I'll say this about the next Game Awards. If Final Fantasy 14 doesn't win Best Ongoing Game, whatever it is, like, come on.
Yeah, I think there's no chance it doesn't win with the way people, especially in the games industry and the game press, have been talking about it.
None of us have actually played all of those ongoing games. Of course not. But, like, you have to be able to take the temperature a bit on that one and just see what's going on. Like, how does Final Fantasy 14 not win that?
Mm-hmm. With this one's from Epic Open World. With the backlash to the Saints Row reveal, lots of downvotes on the trailer whenever it was posted, and the devs saying they are not backing down. I have not heard about this. Do you think the game gets delayed to address feedback? Why do you think they waited until a few months before launch to show even the press the game? I don't know. Mike's seen it. You tell me. Like, what are your feelings about it? Like, in regards to getting it back? I didn't know about the backlash. I wonder which angle it's coming from.
So yeah, this is interesting. So from what I saw on Twitter, I was almost surprised that there wasn't a backlash. But yeah, you look at the dislike proportion on these YouTube videos. Some of them have, like, on IGN stuff, some of them have more dislikes than likes. So okay. Now I feel vindicated, but that almost makes more sense to me. That's almost what I was expecting.
But where is it coming from?
Well, sure, yeah. Like, what are people upset about? Like, are people upset because like I hate to say this, but the internet is so awful. Are people upset because like one of the main characters is a black person, the other one's a woman? Like, it's hard to tell anymore.
I think this is still the Saints Row 1 and 2 fans being upset that they're not getting Saints Row 1 or 2 exactly the same thing.
Really?
Basically.
You think so? Because
I think so.
This looks like about as close to that as it could possibly be, except it's not in a city. Is that what they're upset about?
Here's some comment. This isn't Saints Row. This is hipsters versus gangsters.
That's what I'm saying. The hipster, like this top comment, this one. Finally, a game where you play as Google employees. Not gonna lie, kind of funny.
No, yeah, for sure.
I mean, I get it. Yeah,
But the Tim Time here says Old Saints in our memories forever, and it's got 345 upvotes.
But see, what's Old Saints? Is that Saints Row 1 and 2?
I think it's Saints Row. I think it's Saints Row 1 or 2.
I think that's Saints Row 3 and 4. It's just like that jacket.
I think you haven't had run-ins with the Saints Row 1 and 2 people before. I promise you that they are weird like this. And
I mean, reboots are always tricky like this.
Yeah.
And look, a lot of people like those original characters. So like from all 4 of those games, they like those characters. So like it's gonna be rough for this new kind of gaggle here, this foursome. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, see, I'm glad this was pointed out to me because in my mind I'm like, that went over surprisingly well to me. Maybe it didn't. I don't think they're gonna change anything though. It's coming out in 3 months. I think they're gonna. I tell you what though, and that's why I'm almost surprised that they are doing something this risky because Agents of Mayhem was a disaster and they had to fire a lot of people.
Yep.
If this doesn't do well, like the Volition is maybe done.
Yeah. I think it is some people who are like just missing Johnny Gat and Shondi and Pierce and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know. It's tough to gauge. Okay, let me see. What was the question? He said, "Why do you think they waited until a few months before launch to show even the press?" I wonder if they predicted some of this feedback, but I don't know. I wonder if part of it's just COVID and they wanted to be sure they could get the game out on time, so they just waited until then to talk about it. All right, from Epic Open World, don't know if you saw this, but Arby's is now selling Arby's branded D&D dice.
Oh, I saw it.
What video game should Arby's partner with in creating merch or appear directly in the game?
I mean, they already did it with Shovel Knight. That's
That's right. Yeah.
That was a thing, which was pretty good.
That was great. I think that's like really when my Arby's rekindling and love for it, like really. Yeah, I was like, okay, Arby's is fantastic. That was strange though.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 14 has done weird promotions before already. I just want to be able to go to an Arby's in Final Fantasy 14. I want to be able to get a beef and cheddar mount and fly around on it.
Yeah, I think Kirby, where Kirby just eats all the food and like turns into a roast beef sandwich or whatever.
They bring back Cooking Mom after that weird thing that happened.
The NFTs or whatever it was. Yeah. Jayton asks, "Hey guys, I'm wondering what have you been eating lately? Making anything or eating any good takeout?" My wife gets us. Not freshly. I think it's the one that comes from Kroger, basically. I can't remember exactly what their meal kit thing is, but they send it to your house, and it's super fresh food, and it's been really good because it's like eating out at a restaurant every night, but we're at home. So we've been doing that. We had really good chicken last night.
I've been doing a lot of pork tenderloins lately. It's my favorite thing. Like the ones that already come marinated. It's pretty easy. You just I just trim them a little bit and wipe them down a little, and then get them on the grill outside. It's an excuse to go in the grill. And tastes pretty good. And usually have some leftovers to snack on. But I've been I still been doing, Arby's is my favorite, but I haven't been doing too much of it lately because I'm fat. I'm sad to say. And I don't know. I'm thinking if I'm going to get some Arby's today because I am craving it. I'm
craving it now too.
I've been doing Subway a lot, and people got mad at me once just because there's one very close to me, and it does have an indoor seating thing, and I like doing that just because I work from home, so I like being able to sit in a dining room for just like 30 minutes.
I agree.
It's like for lunch. It makes me feel better.
It's like way less. It's like remove some of the stress of like, oh man, you're being at home, and like work is right there. I could be cleaning up that mess. Yeah. I totally agree.
Like the Arby's is very close too, but their dining room's not open, understandably.
Yeah,
but it's
fine.
A new place just opened called Chula, which is this Indian fast casual place. Yeah, and I've gone there a few times already, so I can now easily get chicken tikka masala, and you get the naan bread, and you kind of like just stuff some of it in that naan bread is like one of my top 5 favorite foods now. Like I really only discovered it recently on Like I knew what it was. I only had it for the first time recently on my last Disney World trip at the one restaurant in the Animal Kingdom. What are you messing around with?
Don't worry, I fixed it. Shut up. Also, you need to stop because we have so many questions left.
All right, I was going to talk about my 5 other restaurants I've eaten at recently. Okay.
Benji Bob has a series of stuff for us, but I might ignore the rest of the stuff just based on what he says here. Happy Friday, Jeff. Gets mad when people don't define winter based on location with the sun, but will ignore the Midwest is not geographically in the Midwest. Grubb. And Mike, the Saints Row remake is giving me big Mega Man X vibes. Minotti.
Okay. Big Mega Man X vibes, big boss baby vibes from this one.
The Midwest is not, it's a proper noun. That's not the same thing. The Midwest, we talked about this before, it's not directions. It's not supposed to tell you how to get there. It's just a proper noun. It's just the name that they got, like, okay. And then, yes, and then the Earth's location, it's the tilt relative to the sun is just a fact. It's just a thing that we can't change. Oh my God. Oh, okay. Whatever.
Just move on, Jeff. Move on. He's trolling you.
Does the Horizon and Death Stranding updates at at opening night live make it less likely for PlayStation to host a State of Play now? Or would said State of Play be much more future focused? Thanks as always. Have a great weekend.
I mean, we still haven't seen very much of anything about the next God of War, a game that supposedly at some point was going to come out this year, right? Which I almost never believed. But there must be something of that they can show to get people excited, and they might want to do that this year. But maybe not now that the goal is to get people excited about Horizon, right? Now we have to still focus on that a bit longer. So I don't know. A State of Play does seem kind of awkward this year now, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't. They need to tell us what's coming out this fall. Like they need to like sell those games. I don't think.
Yeah, they already kind of did that. I guess they have to do it again. But yeah, you got to sell people on Deathloop.
Well, because there was like like Deathloop, but like you have to come out and say, okay, so we did already delay Horizon Forbidden West. I know you were expecting that this holiday. Many of you were expecting that. So in the absence of that, here's what you could be excited about. Here's Call of Duty. Here's a bunch of other stuff. It's going to be mostly commercials for out this fall that most people aren't going to care too much about. Yeah. Oh man, my browser just died. Hang on, I can't even read the questions. Let me. I'll refresh.
That's fine. That's fine. I was going. They are going to have to announce a new game at some point too. You would think, but again, it's like the timing is now weird because. Like you at some point you have to let people know what's after God of War, but God of War now seems so far out there.
Yes.
Maybe one of those live service games we know they're working on. Like I don't know where Naughty Dog's live service or is it Insomniac's live service game or what's going on.
Yeah, I would imagine they'll probably have something new to talk about at this thing, but it's a lot of it's going to be about getting people excited for stuff they could buy with their PlayStation 5 this holiday. Okay. Benji asks, the Xbox Series X is already limited in that it's hard to get. And then Microsoft said, what if we made it even more limited? Don't get me wrong, it looks beautiful. I think he's talking about there was a Halo Xbox Series X they announced.
Xbox Series X, yeah.
So he said, but I thought we were already in a chip shortage. Do you think this was the right move compared to maybe just releasing a couple extra controllers? It doesn't help knowing bots snagged pre-orders and doubled the price on eBay almost immediately. So, those chips are going to be in shortage whether or not you change the outside of the console or not. So, and they want to get these limited edition things up and running, and that means you commit to these things a long time ago, and then once the production lines are going, you just send us some chips there, and it's not really going to affect how many Xbox Series X's you're going to be able to sell. Not really, but I don't know. I get why the optics of it aren't great.
That controller looks nice. Not the one that comes with that new console is okay, but that's like specific Master Chief themed.
Yes, Elite Series 2 controller as well. That's like the really good controller. It's really fantastic. I liked all the stuff they announced hardware wise. The Forza controller also looked really good. Benji then asks, okay, last one, ending on a positive. Buy one, rent one, banish one. The Forza Horizon 5 controller, the Master Chief Elite 2 controller, and the Halo Series X controller.
The Master Chief controller is the buy, the Forza's the rent, and then the Halo console controller is the banish.
I'm gonna let Mike's answer lie because I actually haven't looked too closely at all of them. So yeah,
I'm always right too, so you can just agree with me and you'll be fine.
All right, well now I feel like I should go looking for myself, but fine. Jimmy DeBra, long one, so my apologies. Buckle up. All right, here we go. So Skill Up just did a review on the latest Destiny 2 season and drew an interesting parallel between Destiny 2 and Final Fantasy 14. Basically comparing the two, since both are MMO long-term games with quality content being added regularly and both having a good free trial to jump into the games. Yet Final Fantasy 14 and Square Enix get love universally, but Destiny and Bungie are constantly hated on. Skill Up concluded that it was because Final Fantasy 14 players trusted the people in charge, while Destiny players don't trust Bungie because they're constantly making anti-consumer choices alongside the content updates with microtransactions, etc. My question is this: is that a fair comparison for one? And two, do you think Bungie would benefit from being acquired by someone like Microsoft for more financial security and to prevent them from needing to shove microtransactions at players to protect profit margins? It seems like they're happy being independent, but they seem to shoot themselves in the foot too often, trying to make up for major content drops that are cheap to play.
That last point about getting acquired by Microsoft, I don't know. I'm not sure.
I don't know either about that.
I don't know
either.
if that would impact the way they handle that kind of stuff. But I don't know. The general comparison between Final Fantasy 14 and Destiny 2, I think that's right about maybe people don't trust the devs as much. I think the onboarding is a lot better for Final Fantasy 14. Like whenever you start that game, you still you play through what it was originally, like A Realm Reborn, not the original one that they destroyed, and then you go through the expansions, and it makes sense. Whereas the Destiny 2 is doing this kind of there's sort of this weird thing where you kind of jump around. Some stuff isn't available at certain points. It's not like when I go back to it now, I'm not very sure what I should be doing. And Final Fantasy 14 always makes it very clear what you should be doing, and I think that helps a lot.
Yeah, and I mean, and you got to keep in mind, like Final Fantasy 14 is something you pay monthly for, right, Mike? Like that's got a monthly fee.
Yes, it does.
Their bottom line is well protected from something that everyone sort of just knows is part of playing a big MMO like that. So a lot of people just accept it; they don't even think about it. And Destiny really has to work to get that money from people, and it's not just like part of the part of the structure. So it's a completely different incentive thing, and it makes it more complicated and more difficult for something like Destiny.
I know they say they don't want to, but I really do wish that they would just do one more like big reboot, like a Destiny 3. I think they could really get everything right this time and make something that's going to appeal to a larger audience and really have long-term success. And Destiny 2 seems to be doing well. I hear a lot of good things about these days, and I was somebody who liked it a lot in the beginning. It's hard to play more than one of these big service games anyways, but I would be brought back pretty much at this point only if there was a Destiny 3. Like none of these season updates or whatever is really going to be enough for me.
From Nick Turbo, have you heard any new rumblings about any Xbox acquisitions? Not recently. No, sorry. We'll keep our ears open. We'll see what we hear. From PJM, how many of the January through March releases will get delayed out of that window, and if they do, which ones? I think we kind of answered this previously, but I think most of them are probably going to make it at this point. I think there's still maybe a chance that Elden Ring gets delayed, but so far, it seems like they're sticking to it. So we'll see. They just did a preview that I don't know. I was on vacation, I think, when they set that up. So if they reached out to us, I have no idea if we just missed it or whatever. But we did not get the preview, but other people have. So it sounds like they're bracing for actually releasing that game. From Cunning Linguist, do either of you know anything about the new survival horror game Tormented Souls? I do not.
I do not. Not my thing.
Not our thing. Yeah. I'll look into it at the very least. Giggy was listening to the Super Nintendo launch episode of Retronauts this week, and Jeremy Parrish shared that he first encountered the Super NES at Arby's. That's some deep and beefy cred. Do you have a story to top that, or will you relinquish the beef and cheddar crown?
I
will fight him.
I'm relinquishing nothing.
Yes.
My story to top it is that Arby's sent me that shit. So.
Yeah, he can come get my Arby's hat from my cold dead head. Yeah, no way.
Yeah.
All right, Wildfire Alex, do you think we'll see that 60-minute gameplay of Elden Ring? We don't. We think probably. I don't know if it'll be exactly that, but maybe. Sosuke, hey Jeff and Mike, hope you guys had a solid week. My question is, with September coming around, do you think we hear about any Xbox acquisitions around the same time? They announced the Bethesda acquisition, which was around the late September. Also, is the whole Persona 5 Royal coming to Xbox just never happening? Anyway, have a wonderful weekend. We can answer that one. I still think it's coming, but I don't know.
There's supposedly still all these Persona announcements that are happening, right?
Exactly, for like months and months and months, right? Like they have months of announcements. So
some of these are going to have to be ports, and some of them are going to have to be ports of Persona 5 Royale, you would think.
I would think. So yes, I think that's still happening. From Matt, when do you think we'll get a handheld that can emulate PS2, Xbox, GameCube games well? That it also doesn't cost more than $200 or $300. Okay, listen. Just spend $400 and then get a Steam Deck. It's going to be able to handle that. So Steam Deck's going to be able to handle those pretty well. And maybe
wait till the next Steam Decks come out, then you can get one of the old ones for $200, and then you can run those things. Right,
and get it right when it happens, because then after that, I think the old Steam Decks are going to go up in price because they're going to be valuable. Sosuke. Okay, you have to pick one or the other. Okay, hang on, let me see this. You have to pick one. The other two get erased from history. Okay.
Well.
Star Wars Republic Commando, Elder Scrolls Oblivion, Crimson Skies.
This is okay. I know I carry a torch for Crimson Skies more so for my brother's sake. AJ, he really likes the game. Of those games, the one I played the most and actually enjoyed the most was actually Oblivion.
Same here. Oblivion's my answer.
I think I'll save Oblivion.
Yeah, I mean, I like those other games, but Oblivion's my answer.
I do like those other games, but Oblivion, yeah.
All right, we're finally getting to the last few questions. Here's Jedi Moss 4. Will companies ever be able to successfully keep people's expectations in check for events? No. And it seems like every time a director show gets announced, companies immediately have to tamp down expectations or announce that what won't be shown at the event. Yeah, we're just in a situation where you're not just drawing the attention of people like who are at work and are like, hey, should I watch this thing? There are people who like create content and get their audiences excited for these things and say, hey, I'm going to broadcast this thing. And so they have to make a big deal out of it. And it's just like we're in a system now where that stuff, any one of these events is going to create its own hype just because of that stuff. And you can't really control it. From Justin, good afternoon, Papa Meat Grubb and fan service Minotti. First and foremost, why would anyone complain about seasons attached to release dates? I don't know, man. I don't know. That was weird. It's weird.
I mean, some people are just, emotionally mad because Halo's coming out later than they would like to, so they try to justify it. That's all it is. They try to come up. They probably don't even really believe that about December 1st, December 8th not counting as fall. But like, it justifies their irrational anger.
Yeah, and again, I said this on Grubb Snacks, where it's like, I don't even care that much if people are like saying like when December 8th, I consider that winter. That I really don't mind. But if someone were to come to you and said, I'm releasing something in the fall, and they release something on December 8th, and you go, well, I don't feel that's fall, you are a lunatic. You're a lunatic. You're a lunatic.
Yes. It was very clear this was going to come out as late as possible at that time.
They said holiday, whatever. So it's like we're not even discussing the reality of the situation. Second, how do either of you balance family, kids, and work life with playing games? Mike, what do you do?
I don't have a family. That's what I do. I play lots of games because I just don't. Yeah, it's relatively easy for me. Even my extended family sometimes gets in the way. Gosh, there's so many kids' birthdays I had this summer. Those brats. I know my one brother is here. Those disgusting, grubby brats with their petting zoos.
Wow, that's our word.
Yeah, their ungrateful present openings. Wow, no, it was great. It was a lot of fun. I love them. But no, I'm fine. I play plenty of games.
I have begun having to drop off my kids and pick them up from school during the week, and that means I have to get up super early to get work done before that stuff happens, because I'm almost certainly not going to be able to get work done during the day. And then at night, I got to get them fed and get them to bed, and I'm so exhausted by then I don't have the energy to play games. I've been stuck in the early part of Psychonauts 2 since I started it like a week and a half ago, and I'm like, I've got no time to play games. So it's just getting worse. But we'll see. Once I get past this like transitional period of getting these things started, I'll find some pockets for games again. But right now, there is no balance in it. That's the answer.
Everyone, listen. You don't have to be like him. You can be like me.
You can be like Mike.
Not that his life sucks or anything, but like I'm living pretty well over here.
I'm not weeping. I'm not weeping. From Oregon, hey Jeff and Mike, we are now 14 days away from the official release of 2K22 and still haven't seen a glimpse of gameplay. I am genuinely mind blown that a game this big has yet to release any real trailers 14 days from launch. Surely this is a record. Yeah, that's really getting down to the wire, huh?
Well, we know those same people are now the people who have to work on the WWE game that's in trouble, right?
Yeah, I I wonder if we get like a trailer like early, like first thing next week or something like that. I don't know. It's weird. I'll ask around, but
I wonder if they also asked for a delay for that game, and I bet 2K's just like, no.
Yeah, maybe.
You cannot for this.
Yeah. Benji Bop, to clarify, Halo Battle Pass. Okay, here we go. Completing challenges is the only way to progress your battle pass. According to the 343 community manager, there will be no per-match XP at launch. Apparently, there's a possibility you could run out of challenges if you play the game non-stop, but they said they are working on that. But it should be noted that battle passes don't go away each season, so you can use a year of challenges to complete the first pass if that's what you want to do. So at least there's no pressure to grind out default dancing in front of other Spartans in big team battle to unlock the monster energy armor before your 3 months are up.
Yeah.
So there's a give and take here. I think, to me, this sounds like a bad idea just because people love XP so much that
I'm not sorry, go ahead.
No, that's it. You go.
The challenge system is sometimes problematic because Destiny had one of those, and it was often like I felt pressure to play the game not how I wanted to, because the challenges would be like kill 3 people with a shotgun. Well, if I don't want to use a shotgun, well, now I got to use the shotgun. No, just let me play and get XP based on like, how many kills I get and if I win or lose. I think this system was perfectly fine the way it was. I don't like this. I'm not like furious about it, but it seems worse.
But it's the kind of thing where, and this is a weird example, but like JCPenney was like, like a bunch of other stores make pricing confusing. We're just going to sell our stuff for $5 exactly, and $8 and $12, and it's going to be color coded, and you're going to know it. And like, we don't even do coupons. We're just going to sell it for the lowest price possible. And a bunch of people who like go to those stores rebelled against. They didn't rebel. They just didn't go to JCPenney because they like the sort of meta game of trying to grind out the best prices using coupons and sales and stuff like that. And I think it's the same sort of mentality here of trying to get most from your XP, and people just love that stuff. It makes them feel good. So trying to like beat that system isn't a good idea.
People like watching numbers go up, Jeff.
Yes, I love watching numbers go up. I do.
Yeah, I play JRPGs, but it's basically just watching numbers go up.
The numbers go up. I just gotta see the numbers go up. Someone make the numbers go up.
Modern Warfare found a way to make the numbers go up in an FPS, and everyone was like, yes, good. So yeah, I don't know. I think the criticism is fair. That seems like a weird decision to me.
Okay, then we got our final 3 here from Nick Turbo. Let's just do them. He says, where is my mic? I haven't sent it to you yet. I'm going to send you. I got one right over there. I'm going to send to you because you sound so terrible. And then he says, I felt like we answered this one because I saw it at the top and it wasn't crossed out, but maybe I just answered it in my head. Are you tired of the games journalists are bad at games meme? Did we answer that?
No, we didn't answer that. You love playing into it, so you can't be tired.
I'm not. I mean, I am trying to do the thing where I'm trying to 8 Mile it, where I'm the one that makes the most fun of it, so no one else can actually make those jokes because it doesn't actually work. If like you're like, oh, if you actually like feel that way to the point where you're like, I'm gonna get those games journalists, and then Jeff Grubb's over here like actually doing it way more than you just kind of look a little bit silly. It's actually my strategy there.
Yeah, I mean, I get annoyed by it, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I mean,
I know I'm good enough at video games.
Right.
I know there's plenty of things I can do better than most people. We were doing our Astros bot.
Yeah, they could beat our Astro time if they want to talk about it. Yeah, exactly.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, you could 1v1 me in Smash Bros and see how you do. I don't know. Maybe you'll beat me. Maybe you won't.
Yeah, I think you'll probably be competitive. I'm set just like I would be in Smash Brothers.
Yeah. I'd be impressed if you could game that Final Fantasy 14 auction house like I am right now. But
and then finally, will we ever get a Far Cry Battle Royale? That would be hype. Nick Turbo, why do you say things?
Would that be hype?
What you're definitely gonna cause that to happen.
I don't think he thinks that.
I think he's being sarcastic, but he still put it out in the world.
Yeah,
even if he's not, I don't know. I mean, yeah.
I feel like we are maybe past the point of everybody just rushing out to get a battle royale. So I don't think it's gonna happen. I think everyone realizes now, like, no, it's gonna be Fortnite and basically Fortnite and Call of Duty at this point, right?
Yeah, pretty much. There's gonna be a few other here and there.
Yeah, I know Battlegrounds is still a thing, but
no, I know what you mean. All right, Mike, I think we got a few more super chats.
Yes. Red Devil says, have you heard anything about the development of Battlefield 2042? Lots of players worried the game is in trouble and in danger of a delay.
Ooh, I don't think that's the case. No, I haven't heard anything, but I could ask around about that and see, but I just haven't heard those sorts of things, so I'm surprised to hear that. But I wonder if that's just fans being anxious or if there's something more there. But I'll look into it. From what I've heard, it seems like it's going fine, but we'll see.
Stephen Hart says, "What are you guys are telling me I'm not morally responsible for ditching WoW for the morally superior New World made by Amazon, the most ethical company?" Yeah.
Listen, the thing there is that when people say like you should boycott a company, they're acting like it's your responsibility to change these companies, and it's you have so little effect. Your money is so minuscule compared to what actually these companies are making, and like what you stand to change by voting with your wallet. And yeah, if you get everyone to do it, maybe you can make a change, but you're going to have a very difficult time doing that. That's going to require your time and more of your money to actually cause that sort of thing to happen. And so these are civil rights violations that these companies are doing. We have laws for these things.
Yeah.
We don't have to take responsibility ourselves. We could just ask our government to do something about it, as they should be required to when someone violates a human's civil rights. And so I just don't get it in your heads that it's your responsibility. It's not. We have rules for these things already. We could just enforce those things. So yeah, and Steven, I know you were being facetious there, but I've been like thinking about this entire time, so I wanted to get that out.
RDX Son of a Fett says, devs claim Ratchet and Clank lied.
Ratchet and Clank did lie.
I don't know what that means. I don't know which devs. I don't know if he means the devs on that
I'm sure he's talking about like the promises about like what the Portal things would be, and like really? I know what this one is. This is the devs for Ratchet and Clank said that you could only do those portals on the PS5, and then someone at another dev said, no, you could easily do that same stuff on a PS3. And I didn't look into that too closely because I always kind of had the hunch that we played Portal on an Xbox 360, so we know portals are possible on older hardware. But I still think when they were making this game, I bet the SSDs helped. So I didn't think it was necessary.
There must be more. I don't know. I don't know anything about hardware. It's fine.
Yeah.
All right. That's it for the super chats.
Mike, we've been broadcasting for more than 3 hours. You just want to get out of here?
No, that's been 2 hours, not 3 hours. That's insane. You're doing math wrong.
No, you're right. 2 hours. I don't know why the YouTube thing says 3 hours. Okay, yeah. You want to just talk about games real quick and then get out of here?
Talk about Psychonauts 2 a little bit and get out of here.
Yeah, it sounds good. Okay, so you reviewed Psychonauts 2. Tell me what you think.
I think it's very good. I think it's better than the original. It's a better looking game than the original for sure. You look back at the original game, it kind of looks pukey in a lot of areas. Yeah. Especially like that camp area, a lot of like browns and weird dark greens. It could be a bit pukey. It's almost like it almost is like, oh, that's what an Intel 64 game would have looked like in the next generation if we really went more down that route. But obviously that game really stood out because of the character and the story and the charm, and all that stuff is in the sequel, and it's great and it's better looking. I think the levels are generally more interesting. There's something like that one level in Psychonauts 1 that was almost more like an adventure game than anything else. There's something quite like that in this one. But there's still really creative things. Like there's basically an Iron Chef level at one point, and that's really fun, stuff like that. I guess my thing is like why I'm not like, oh, this is a game of the year contender, and why I'm almost a little surprised to see it as like one of the best reviewed games of the year. I think about the other sort of highlight 3D platformers in recent years, basically Mario Odyssey, Crash 4, and Ratchet and Clank. And it doesn't look as good as Ratchet and Clank, obviously. No. It does, you don't have as many like the move set of an Odyssey, right? The ridiculous, just kind of acrobatic thing, and it's not the satisfying platforming challenge that Crash 4 is. Right. So what it is doing better than all those games is character and story and stuff like that. And I said
setup too, like the worlds, the way that they deliver on like payoffs of like the worlds of like setting up a world and then changing things up, and that stuff's working well too, right? And that's better than anything else. But still, I tend to agree with you. I think. Right.
Like what I care about more is those other three things. I said even like animation is probably one that will stand out. Because the game does look really nice, but it's just not doing that animation work that I'm almost kind of getting spoiled and becoming used to because of things like Luigi's Mansion 3 and Ratchet and Clank, and even Crash 4 was really good at that now. So what it is more just that kind of like those canned animations and like not quite flappy mouths, but close to flappy mouths as opposed to like really well animated mouth movements all the time. It's I think sometimes they do more of that than others, but yeah, it's noticeable. There's also some awkward stuff like they did not imagine this game coming out in an SSD era. So like when I'm playing it on the Series X, there are these like cutscenes, and will be loading screens between the cutscenes, even though there's a series of them. And the loading screen will be there for a second. So it's like one cutscene, then like a picture of a frog for a second, and then another cutscene, and then a picture of a beaver. And it's just like a little, it's a little awkward in a point that I imagine Double Fine games won't be in the future once they are pure Microsoft.
Yeah, right. I will say that this game does look like it got a coat of Microsoft branded paint, right? Where it's like
did, and it's nice.
It's nice. Like it looks shinier than you would have expected from a FIG crowdfunded game that we were expecting this entire time. And then they delayed it and said, well, we're gonna spruce it up. You notice that when you're playing it. It looks really nice. It does feel pretty streamlined. It does feel like they really thought about ensuring that the game is fun and that you're always doing something cool and you always kind of have cool concept thrown in your face. It's like, just feels really refined for the most part, but there's definitely still, you're right. I think the basis, the foundation felt like it was started as a crowdfunding game in a world where we were making games on last gen consoles. And they'll get even better at this stuff in the future. I totally agree. And I just, the stuff that I like in platforming is like nonstop action, and that's why I do like something like Odyssey, where you're always doing something cool. Or I like Ratchet and Clank because it's like a roller coaster ride where you are like you're moving from one thing to the next so fast that you kind of can't even catch your breath. And Psychonauts 2 is a little bit more deliberate, a little bit more deliberately paced, and that works. And that's okay. It's not bad because of that. It is just doing something different, and it's good at what it does. It's just a little bit less my jam than some of these other things. But that's just personal taste, and I think I'm happy that so many other people seem into it and are considering it for Game of the Year.
I think it is ultimately smart. It is good that it's doing its own thing.
Yes.
And to be clear, like it's not like the platforming is bad. It's pretty good, and the moveset is interesting. They even expand the combat a bit, and that's working. Like it's not amazing, but it's working maybe better than expected. But yeah, like you compare to like Odyssey and those levels and how it's like anything you can stand on, the game thought you would stand there, and it has a plan for you, and it'll hide things up there. Like this just isn't that level of intricacy. Like there's plenty of times where I was like kind of jumping in like a mountain, and it's like I shouldn't be standing on this part of the mountain, and the game's confused, and now I'm like my character's kind of floating there awkwardly, and I'm smashing the jump button to get out of there. Things like that.
Yep. I'm gonna play through it though. I'm like having a lot of fun with it. I'm gonna keep playing it. So
it's a fun playthrough.
Yes, it's really nice to kind of get this game to kick off the holiday season, basically. Where all right, we're gonna be from now to the end of the year. There's gonna be a lot of games coming out. It's good to start off with like a really solid game to come out. A good 4 out of 5.
It's gonna be really interesting to see how this one performs, because like Psychonauts 1 never sold very well. I think it eventually got to like 1 million sold because of a decade of generous Steam sales and stuff like that, right? So it's going to be interesting to see what this one does with, at this point, everyone notices now when a game gets a review score over 85%, basically, Metacritic, and it has Microsoft marketing behind it. It got a very big slot in that Gamescom thing that everybody was watching.
And it's on everything, or most things. It's on
Game Pass.
Yeah, it's on Game Pass, and it's on PlayStation, though, if you want to go buy it. Like, you can go buy it there, because it's like part of that big deal, so yeah. Cool. All right, Mike. Anything else that we should talk about?
No, I think that's it. I'm hungry.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, everybody. Let's find out where we can find Mike.
We got more super chat just from Brab. Just from Brab saying happy Friday, Jeff and Mike. Cheers. Cheers.
Thank you, Brab. I'm actually gonna be on a show probably with Brab later today. I'm gonna be on the Mooch's show, so I'll be hanging out with you then, Brab. See you then. All right, Mike. Where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter at Tokoto, at TOLKOTO. Check out 90s Disney, my 90s Disney podcast at 90sdisney.com. Check out Last Nintendo. Jeff, are we starting doing that on Wednesdays now? Is that the plan?
I think so. Yes, Wednesdays. What time we're going to do that? We're going to do a little bit earlier, I think. I can't remember exactly, everybody.
Figure it out.
We'll let
Stay
you know.
tuned.
We'll let you know. I'm on Nintendogs with Mike, which we're doing on Wednesdays now. You get us in the Discord, discord.gg/GameMass. Come hang out with us. I'm on Twitter at Jeff Grubb, on Twitch at Jeff Grubb. I've got a pretty busy weekend. I'm doing a podcast tonight. I'm doing a podcast tomorrow night. And then, but I do want to stream some more Other M. If I could feel justified in doing it, Sunday night I'll be playing some Other M on twitch.tv/JeffGrubb. So let's hang out that night. Also, I did do that Discord stage like Q&A thing. I'll be doing those like monthly, but I think I'll start doing for Patreon only members here pretty soon. But I'll be putting up that Q&A as a podcast on the Patreon feed here very soon. I just haven't had any time to do that. Again, it's been pretty crazy. But yeah, thank you everybody for the super chats this week. A lot of great questions. Thank you for all the Discord members and the Patreon members for sending in your questions. That was a lot. We might have to do like a 1 or 2 question limit in the future, I think. But
maybe,
I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know. It was like, it's, I was looking at the wrong number, so I felt like we were going longer. Like this YouTube thing is saying 3 hours.
We were going for 3 hours.
Yeah, I thought we were going for 3 hours. So I'm like, okay, maybe.
My body would never allow that. Don't worry.
All right. So maybe it's fine. We'll see. We'll discuss it. But
maybe.
I don't know. What else you could be playing, Mike? You got any plans this weekend?
I gotta finish this project really, and there's a review game I want to play some of. I think I'll be able to get to it. We'll see.
Cool. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna get into Psychonauts 2. There is a new foot massage game on Steam I'm gonna play. But bye everybody.
Is April O'Neill in it?
Yes.